They don't see the things I eat for dinner. All my hippos hungry. Hippo, hungry hippo. What's up, guys? I don't know why Greg's just staying silent there. He didn't like that, I think. Oh, there we go. I feel like we've seen that one before, Greg. What's going on here?
Bro. Okay, fine. Give me a sec.
Okay, so Biden has cancer. He has cancer. That's
Why'd
the
you
news.
say it like that?
Ye is apparently asking for forgiveness. He is rebuking what he would consider to be his bad moments. So, the song of the summer is no longer, according to people that call it that. I'm just saying. But we also have a new Ye release. He did release a song, but unfortunately, no nitrous. I will say that part, kind of struck a chord with me. No nitrous. The nitrous stuff is kind of going crazy. Okay, it's kind of going hard. And we also have some more. Well, I have one in particular, cultural moment of the week that we're going to talk about. But as well, Greg has brought this one to my attention, that there was a woman, a broad, if you will, that went to the hospital for sleeping with 583 guys. How is this possible? Well, we'll see. And we'll see her fiance's reaction to this. And we'll also, at least to the fact that she was doing this. I don't know. But anyway, we're also just going to see the absurdity that is not only the advertising of these sellers of images and videos that are graphic of themselves. We're also going to see some terrible takes, just in general, from women. How you doing, Mr. Greg?
Bro, I cannot for the life of me think of a good profile picture. I don't know what it is.
Biden. Some sort of Biden meme. The guy that goes, Joe Biden, that guy. That's a good image. I'm a guy with ideas, okay?
A man of ideas?
I am.
Not a man.
Okay.
A man of forms, one could say.
One could say. How have you been? How's your week been? How have you been doing? How have you been holding up?
I've been doing pretty great. Pretty great indeed.
Yeah. Have you gotten your prostate checked?
Wait, what?
Have you gotten your prostate checked?
No.
Well, you should, because what happened to Mr. Biden. He was found to have this severe form of cancer, and this is no laughing matter, folks, for real. But the thing is that they're saying it's this severe form that hadn't been caught until now, and so we're gonna read a little bit about it. But it just doesn't seem to add up that they wouldn't know that the president of the United States had a severe form of cancer that clearly didn't just develop overnight. And they're just finding this now. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. We're going to take a look. It's been called into question, even in a mainstream sense. So I think this is an important topic to discuss. That's going to be what we hit for tonight. Is there anything else you want to mention, Mr. Greg, before we get into the podcast?
Yeah, I'm just going to Sicko's Time Wizard.
The podcast ever.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, no, for real. This happened, I believe, on Friday. And so we're just going to pull up first just an article describing what happened, just straight up like what he was diagnosed with here. It is prostate cancer, but we're going to take a look at this. So let me pull that up. I just have the same image, but it's fine. It's relevant. Okay. So Biden diagnosed with aggressive form of prostate cancer. So former President Joe Biden was diagnosed with prostate cancer, according to a statement from his personal office Sunday. Okay, so this was Sunday, and it has spread to Friday. Yeah, it does say that there, but it has spread to his bones, and that takes a while to do. That doesn't just happen immediately. Like but last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. And you would think that, they wouldn't have just diagnosed this now, right? If you were having urinary symptoms, let's just cut to the chase. If you were having urinary symptoms as the president of the United States, or even just, as a former president, you don't think that your medical staff, one of the things we actually check first. So you're telling me this is going on for a bit, these urinary problems, but they'd never decided to, do the test that would have told, hey, he has prostate. I mean, like, you could feel that in there. That's what they feel it for. Unless the doctors just get a joy out of feeling it. There's nothing you can tell from that. They're just like, Mr. Biden, we just really need to feel in there. It's very important for me that I feel in there, Mr. Biden. I just need to know what it feels like. That's it. So on Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone, the statement said. It continued, while this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. Biden, I wonder what kind of hormones they'd be even giving him. I doubt DHT, even though that would be, I'm just saying, it's in the works of, I know Georgie was taking a look at that with, I believe, Ratsy was about it. But anyway, Biden, 82, and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians, the statement said. Cancer touches all, the former president wrote on a post on X on Monday. And the thing is, too, people were pointing out that Biden before had even said in a clip, he was like, that's why I and so many people I know deal with cancer, like some sort of basically like pollution or something like that. And this was while he was president, too. Let me see. Cancer. And they were just saying, oh, well, he had some sort of leaves the excuse or something like that. But yeah, I mean, clearly, if he had known, this was an easy slip up to make. So we'll watch that clip too. And that was in 2022. So we're just going to take a look at this. So he added that he and his wife, former First Lady Jill Biden, have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support. Okay. And then, yeah, so let's see. And then, yeah, this person was the one who said that he was recently evaluated for a small nodule. But even the spokesman, I was reading about this, even was saying, oh, this is a new thing, guys. Like, we didn't know about this. Let's see. So prostate cancer is very common, said Dr. Jamin Brambat. I don't even know how to say that. Come on now. That's unfair. You can't just be named that. Come on now. So a urologist and robotic surgeon with Orlando Health and an assistant professor at the University of Central Florida's College of Medicine, who is not involved in Biden's treatment. Okay, so I mean, why are you asking? I guess, okay, you're asking a urologist that, is it common? As we get older, most men are going to have little cancer cells in them. Most men are going to have little cancer cells in them. Okay, that should be concerning. I mean, just the fact that you're saying most men have this, but I mean, it also shows that, it probably what they're thinking is more along the lines of something genetic or, some sort of mutation or something. There might be a correlation with just age and not necessarily some sort of mutation, but just stress. So I'm just saying, but prostate cancers can be assigned a grade known as a Gleason score based on what the cells look like under a microscope. A Gleason score of 9 means it's the most aggressive form of prostate cancer, says Dr. Benjamin Davies, professor of, he is a doctor, professor of urologic oncology at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, who is also not involved in this case. Okay, so I guess it's relevant that you're including that, but maybe you should ask the people involved in the case, and they could just tell you this information too, even if they're not giving you specifics. Biden is at his home in Wilmington, Delaware this weekend, according to a source familiar. Familiar with what? But they didn't include familiar. Familiar with his whereabouts, I guess. I don't know. It's not very specific, right?
It's not.
Yeah. I hate when they do that. It's like, you're not telling me anything. It could be anybody.
Familiar.
Oh yeah. I heard from my cousin that he's going to be up in Delaware.
Maybe they're using the archaic form of familiar and they just mean like family.
Okay, maybe, but it just doesn't seem like, the usage would make sense.
I don't know, bro. I'm trying to give
When's
him
the last time
something
you
to
saw
look
it used
there.
like that?
I can't really say off the top of my head.
Exactly. Okay, so Biden faced concerns over health during the 2024 race. Yeah, so I mean, in 2024, in February 2024, he underwent a physical, and there were no new concerns. That doesn't make sense. So you're saying in a year, he went from nothing to this, what we have now. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is gonna call into question his actual like fitness at all whatsoever. Even though, I mean, come on, with the way he's been speaking and all that in the past few years, we know that he wasn't fit. But it's just this calls it even more into question, just even for the normal person. So I mean, the thing that I thought was pretty relevant was that he actually, in another clip that I'm going to share here in a second, basically might have accidentally leaked in 2022 that he did have cancer even at the time. And you would think, why would they pick a guy
types of people who
can't even keep it together? Like if he's going to leak something, of like issues with so I just know, man. I mean, you could do it through other incentives if that was the goal. Like you could have somebody else that's like, yeah, well, we're just going to need you to say these things, and we'll repay you handsomely. But I guess they just found it more cost effective to have an old man that doesn't know what he's talking about.
4-lane highway was accessible. It drove us rather than us able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? Had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the hill. That's why so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. That's why so damn many other people I grew up have cancer.
Yeah. So I mean, it clearly seems like Biden was saying he has cancer. But yeah, they were saying, I think either that it was a gaffe, but they could have made the claim that it was, from what I heard, like some sort of a skin lesion or something, and then that's not such a serious thing, right? But obviously something's up here, and so especially now, because back in the day, people, not everybody wanted to accept that, obviously the truth is that Biden says these things, and we have to actually take them at face value, or else, what are we talking about here? If we don't take Biden at face value when he says something like, I and so many others have cancer, like what sort of message is that sending to people, other than the fact that this is just not a reliable source of information? And they try to make it about like, oh, he has a stutter. Okay, so I mean, I don't think a stutter makes you say I had cancer. Even so, I think he would have corrected it. I mean, I don't necessarily know that if he put out like a statement on Twitter or something after, but even so, man, like he probably would have done it more immediately than that. Than after the fact. Anybody could have put that out for him after the fact. So, I mean, that also doesn't really help much. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely more than a stutter here. And it very well could just be an accidental slip of it. But so a spokesman of his was saying that he didn't get this diagnosis before last week. So bro just keeps with the capping. He won't stop capping. He's just going to keep telling us this lie, this blatant lie, because again, the president of the United States doesn't get an exam. It just doesn't make any sense. So we're going to read this article right here and evaluate the truth of this matter. We're going to see how legitimate this seems to us, because honestly, it really just doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't make much sense. And also, I'm using the clearly. This is not like any sort of plug, but there's a Clearly Reader extension that you can download, and it's on the Google store. So I take it it's fine to use on YouTube. But anyway, so yeah, you can take a look at the article without all that bullshit going on the sides. But let's see. So former President Joseph R. Biden, and by the way, this was a New York Times article, just so you know, because I know the layout looks different, but former President Joseph R. Biden had never received a diagnosis of prostate cancer before last week, his spokesman said on Tuesday. Stop the cap. Hold on. Let me find the stop the cap right here.
Stop the cap.
Exactly. Stop the cap, bro. Like, are you seriously telling me this? But anyway, pushing back against speculation that there had been some sort of cover up about illness. Let's read about this cope. The spokesman, Chris Meager, I don't know, also said Mr. Biden's last known prostate specific antigen test, the most common way to screen for prostate cancer, was in 2014. Yeah, why would you wait so long to continue doing it? I guess like that. Oh yeah, the tests from 10 years ago are just as relevant as now. I mean, you think like from their perspective of like, you know, we need to be really careful about this. I mean, and I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I'm just saying like, you know, especially seeing how they view cancer, not as like some sort of metabolic disease or stress thing, but as like literally just something that, you know, you need this radiation for and stuff, you know, whatever have you. You would think that if they are taking it to that level of like, we have to detect it at this certain time so that we can start treatment this way, you know, you think they would keep doing it. You think they would keep examining him, but no, apparently not. But the new details help provide some clarity about Mr. Biden's health records, but they still do not clearly give an answer on why Mr. Biden was not regularly screened for prostate cancer through his presidency. True. Mr. Meager, I don't know. I guess Meager, right? Meager did not respond to that question. Oh, wow. Surprise, surprise. And Kevin O'Connor, Mr. Biden's doctor in the White House, did not respond to inquiries. But allies of Mr. Biden, 82, and medical experts point to guidelines that advise against PSA screening for men over the age of 70. Okay, but he's the president, so I don't know. But the guidelines vary. Well, is PSA like a presidential thing, screening? PSA screening. Let me look that up just to make sure here. Well, it says for men, so I don't know if it necessarily. No, it's the prostate specific antigen test. It has nothing to do with the president. But let's see. But you would still think. But doctors generally agree that men of an advanced age should not automatically be screened for prostate cancer. But, you know, he's not just the average American man. And his diagnosis of stage 4 prostate cancer has raised the question, should the oldest president in American history have gone beyond those guidelines? Exactly. Mr. Biden, until July, was also running for a second term in office. And had he won, he would have been 86 at the end of his second term. And you think, you know, maybe there's some sort of connection there. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, it wouldn't look so great if that were to come out in a run for office again. Some men over 70 do choose to have the test despite the guidelines. President Trump, 78, has been regularly screened for prostate cancer, according to his medical records. Pause. I mean, I don't get regularly screened. Pause. But, but anyway, this is what they do for the president, I guess, you know. What were you saying?
That's a little interesting of a choice to make.
Oh, they clean me out good. They touch me in there and they feel around. They say, this is the cleanest whistle prostate. You know, it's clean as a whistle. It's the best prostate they have ever found in United States history. I have the best prostate of any president, frankly.
Yeah. I bet Washington wasn't doing that. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know what the thoughts on that at the time were, but yeah, I don't know, man. You know, I would take it that this what is this, antigen screening? Like, I take it that one, they probably stick a Q-tip up there or something. You know, one of those long Q-tips that you put up your nose, like that they had people doing during like COVID and shit.
I think I've heard of that, but I kind of forgot. Yeah,
they probably just jam it up there, get some of that antigen all over the Q-tip, put it in a bag, go run it in some test tube or something, some sort of liquid. But anyway, but Mr. Biden, yeah, we already read that. Should the oldest president, yeah, he would have 86 at his second term. Some men over 70, Trump, yeah, we read that.
Many men.
Huh?
Many men.
Many men. Mr. Trump's medical reports from his physical last month showed his PSA level was normal. I have the best prostate. I will never get cancer. I am cancer-free. I will always be. I tell my body, I say, body, you're not going to produce cancer today. It just doesn't make sense. It's not stable. It doesn't make sense. You're going to end up hurting yourself, okay? And it stops. It says, Trump, okay, we're not going to do it today. And if I did get prostate cancer, it would be gone in 24 hours. I would assure you that, folks. I would clear it out. I would make the phone call. And prostate cancer experts caution that some men suddenly find out that they have advanced prostate cancer even after being screened regularly year after year and told they have a clean bill of health. Yeah, but, you know, I don't know, man. Like how advanced? How advanced? Like in your bones advanced? I don't know, man. Like you would think that there would be signs other than just the fact that it's in your bones. I mean, like clearly they were saying he had urinary issues for some time now. So even if they weren't doing the test regularly for a man of that age, you would think that if that's their process, thinking, hey, you know, if you have urinary issues, that could signal some other issue in your body, perhaps the prostate. Well, maybe we should go ahead and check that. No. I mean, that's at least what they're telling us. They're saying, no, we didn't do that. No, we didn't do it. We just waited until now to check. You know, I guess it got that bad, but it's just so unlikely. This isn't a likely story. Let's see. Dr. Ezekiel J. Emanuel, an oncologist who served as an advisor on the coronavirus pandemic for the Biden administration, said presidents should be held to a higher standard than the average American. Wow. He emphasized that's a statement right there. But you know, as far as like health screenings, I get it. But like if you're, you know, just as that statement alone, I'm like kind of like, okay, buddy. But he emphasized that should especially be the case for presidents when they are above the age of 70. And he suggested changing the way that presidents' health is assessed. Okay, so he's basically saying, you know, we have to have confidence that their health condition is not intervening. Okay, but let's see. In announcing his diagnosis on Sunday, Mr. Biden's office said his cancer has a Gleason score of 9. Yeah, we read that. It's among the most aggressive forms of prostate cancer. And they also said the cancer has spread to his bones. Yeah, which means it could be incurable, or it is incurable. Sorry, not could be. It is incurable, though it can be managed. On Monday, Mr. Trump seemed to suggest Mr. Biden's cancer diagnosis was hidden from the public and questioned why it took so long for doctors to discover it. You know, they're gonna say things about the people that question this, you know, and I'm sure they already have, because I've seen like interactions where they're like, dude, it's not the time, you know, stuff like that. Oh, so if you have a question about like anything ever, you know, at the time that it's relevant to be asking about it, you're a problem, man. I mean, you're not considering the man that has cancer here in his family and all that. Well, look, you know, it just seems so unlikely that this is the case. So what kind of person tells me, you know, I'm seeing this thing that seems like a lie, and I can't say it's a lie because, you know, somebody's feelings are going to get hurt, or it's a bad time because, you know, of the feelings going around. It's like, you know, oh, you got to be sensitive, man. You're sensitive. I'm not sensitive. You're sensitive.
If somebody told me that, I would think that they are very skilled at cooking meals and washing clothes. That's what I would think.
Well, it's just straight gaslighting, you know, but and you know, they're not even good at it. But you know, it's pretty obvious. Just like the people that cook meals and do laundry and do dishes, they're also bad at gaslighting. But let's see. So it can take years to get to this level of danger, he said. So it's a look. Wow, it's a look. It's a dash look. Like, it's interrupting. It's a look. It's a very, very sad situation, and I feel very badly about it. And I think people should try and find out what happened. Yeah. Okay. So I guess this is what Trump is saying. Yeah, I see why it was said like that, like broken up. He kind of like stops himself from saying something so he can say something different. I get that. He says that a lot of times. So like, it sounds like it can take years to get to this level of danger. So it's a very, very sad situation, and I feel very badly about it. And I think people should try and find out what happened. Yeah, he's just asking questions. I mean, he's Trump, my man Trump. You know, he's I'm not saying he's my man, but I'm just saying like you know, my guy, my you know, honestly, I respect the game. Game respects game is what I'm trying to say here. And Mr. Trump is very good at doing this kind of thing, like getting people to never understand what he's really trying to say, even though like, you know, but he's always like hinting at it. He's never saying it directly. It's like, you know, I just think it should be looked to, me personally. Okay. I'm not saying anything directly. I'm just asking questions. Okay. Is it wrong? Is it wrong to ask questions?
They told me I can't ask that. Why can't I ask that? I'm just asking questions. It's not. I don't think it's a big deal to ask questions. Personally, me personally, I don't think it's a big deal to ask questions.
Me personally, me personally, I think it's a problem.
Why are you so interested in dancing? I like dancing. What can I say? I'm just asking questions.
Let's see. So, let's see. They issued a 27. No, I'm just trying to read like over here what their guideline is for men over 70. Yeah, they said men may develop, or many men develop prostate cancer with no symptoms and often die with the disease without knowing. But wait, so they recommend against screening for men over 70 because many men develop prostate cancer with no symptoms and often die with the disease without knowing it. I'm sorry. That's their reason for saying you shouldn't do it when you're past 70. Am I getting this right? Let me read this one more time. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, an independent volunteer panel of national experts, issued guidance in 2018 that recommended against PSA screening for men over 70 years old. In explaining the recommendation, the task force said many men develop prostate cancer with no symptoms and often die with the disease without knowing it.
Many men.
Why? Why would that matter? Oh, yeah, they don't even know that they have it. So let's not check for it. What? What? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Oh, they're over 70. Who cares? Who cares? That's literally what they're saying. Okay, so
I'm not saying I agree.
But if you're over 70, of course you still care. Of course you still care. Unless you're somebody that like you had a wife or husband that passed away already and your family's kind of like getting up there in age and you're kind of like, well, I already had my grandkids and great grandkids. I'm kind of just ready. You know, there's people like that, but whatever. I'm just saying me personally at 70 years old, I'm not going to say, yeah, man, I'm fine if I get prostate cancer, don't even know it and pass it. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. Huh?
You sounded like Jerry there for a second.
Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh.
That's not okay.
Cares? That's not okay. It's not okay. Why are you telling me that's okay? Okay, so the American Urological Association advises medical professionals to consider a range of factors before screening for prostate cancer in men above 70. Who cares about them, right? It's still who cares about them? That's literally it. It doesn't surprise me that he wasn't being screened because honestly, the data don't really support screening in someone that age. Why not? Okay, so then maybe you're using the wrong screening.
The data don't.
Well, data is a plural.
Yeah, but you don't really hear it used like that in a sentence.
But data like the word would be plural.
Right. But you would usually hear it. Data doesn't support whatever. Like I've never.
But that would be incorrect.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true.
It's not grammatically correct.
It very much is not.
Anyway. So it doesn't support screening in someone that age. Dr. David Penson, the chair of urologic oncology at Vanderbilt University Medical Center and secretary. Okay, so let's see, whatever, his long ass title. Some people, they worry and they have regrets and they'll ask their doctor to do it. And a lot of doctors will do it just because it makes the patients feel better. He added, but sometimes you find something that you didn't need to find because they weren't going to die of it anyway. So, I mean, like, what exactly?
What?
Yeah. I don't know, bro. But sometimes you find something that you didn't need to find because they weren't going to die of it anyway. You find something that seems like, oh, it would be a problem, but you weren't going to die of it. So wait a minute. Like, yeah, but so if you find a PSA test that doesn't look good, you're still not going to die of it. So then it's not an accurate test. Then it wouldn't be accurate. This wouldn't be a good test.
Is the PSA test what I think it is? It's the one that everybody's like makes jokes about, right? The finger.
I don't think so. The PSA, it sounds like they're actually like doing some sort of like collection of a sample.
That's honestly almost worse.
It's a blood test.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different entirely.
Like blood. Yeah, no, this is a blood test, but I'm just saying, like, what you don't need to take it. And first of all, there's no risk to taking a blood test. You get the blood out and then you test it.
You could get AIDS.
That's if it's a transfusion. It's not a test. I guess if the needle was used by somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe you have like a.
But it's not like they're going to do that. They throw those away.
Hey, maybe it's an intern. He didn't know to throw it out.
He was like, they never taught me about that one. What do you mean they never taught you? Yeah, they never taught me not to stick it in multiple people. I thought you could just do that.
One.
I thought you could just do.
It rhymes.
Tra-la-la, tra-la-la?
Correct. It took you so long. To know
Tralala. Yeah, I hadn't seen that.
Did that for like 20 minutes.
My bad. My bad. My fault. My fault. But anyway, the thing is here is like, okay, this just kind of seems like, how do people wrap their head around this sounding right when they hear this from people? I just don't get it. How do you listen to these people and think that makes sense? Yeah, that makes sense.
You're not questioning medical professionals, are you?
Oh, I shouldn't do that, huh? Look, so
bad.
they're saying it's not important to do it in men over 70 because what? It doesn't matter if they die or not. That's what I'm getting here. It just doesn't even make sense. Like that was really what I was getting from it. And then on top of that, they're saying that even if we do test it and it doesn't look good, it doesn't mean you're going to die of it. So then what's the point in the test? What does the test even mean then? And why is it after you're 70? So if it's already elevated after you're 70, but it doesn't mean you have prostate cancer, what does it being elevated have to do with the cancer? It doesn't make sense. If you're already old and you have it elevated, okay, so they're saying there's more like what? Prostate, like cancer cells or something, but it's okay because you're older, but you still have the cancer, no? But they're saying you're not going to die of it. So why would a young person die of the same exact levels? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what's actually going on here? Because they're on one hand they're saying, well, if they're 70 already, I mean, they lived a good life. And then on the other hand, they're like, well, but even if they did check it, that doesn't mean they have cancer. So which is it?
So then what is going on? What does this test mean? I don't get it. I don't get it. What are we
find something that you weren't supposed to find, but then at the end of the day, it won't kill you. So what are you finding? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, how do we even how does this even tell you if he has cancer then? I don't understand. Like, why would this be the test? Why would this be the test? Find a new test. Find a different test. Let's see. So guidelines on PSA screening for prostate cancer have been evolving, and they do vary somewhat. Dr. Jason, oh my God, F Statiu. I don't know how to read that. F Statiu.
I got this. I've got this. Okay. Estafil. Yeah, that's right.
Can I listen to it? I don't know if we're going to be able to hear it. Oh, I have to upgrade to listen. That's great.
Estafil. Yeah.
Estafil. Okay. A professor of radiation oncology at Harvard Medical School and prostate radiation oncologist at Mass General Brigham. They have so much in their title, dude. Do I really have to know all this? I mean, I guess, okay, he's credible, whatever. There is and that doesn't even make their statements right anyway. There is broader agreement on the importance of shared decision-making between the patient and their doctor. But when was there not importance on shared decision-making? I mean, I obviously know there isn't really, but I'm just saying, you're telling me, so you're admitting that there was a point where there was no shared decision, or at least less. So you admit it. It's not good. Okay. It is unclear how much, if any, discussion Mr. Biden had with his doctors when his PSA screening stopped in 2014. But who knows? It wouldn't have mattered if it showed up with something, right? We would only known if his piss was acting weird. And somehow they still didn't know. Okay. Somehow. As if by miracle. Seriously. I had another article for this. Let me see. Need to see if there's anything relevant in that one. This is a BBC one. Biden's cancer diagnosis raises BBC and fresh. Think about this. Questions about his health in the White House. So yeah, basically, people are asking questions. Some doctors have expressed surprise that the aggressive form of cancer, which has spread to his bones, was not detected earlier. Yeah, you would think it's a red flag that some doctors didn't notice. You would think, right? Others pointed out that cancer can grow fast without the patient displaying symptoms, but he was, the urine, and that men over 70 are not routinely screened. And why not? President Donald Trump told reporters on Monday, should have been, his predecessor should have been more transparent with the public, seeming to imply that the cancer diagnosis had been covered. See, that's another kind of Trump, moment where he's kind of saying it without saying it. I'm not saying he knew about it. I just think we should ask questions. And frankly, I think he should have been honest. Okay. I think he should have been more honest. The lack of honesty really gets me, but I'm not saying he has it. I'm not saying he had it. I'm not saying he knew. So seeming to imply that the cancer diagnosis had been covered up, a suggestion rejected by a Biden aide. Yeah, wow, that really helps that somebody on Biden's team is telling you, oh, well, he didn't have, if I'm going to trust anybody here, it's not going to be the guy that works for him, and that is selling us this idea. You're telling me that the guy that sold us this idea is selling us this idea? That's crazy. Oh, the guy that told us we just found it is telling us we just found it, and that the people that are saying, we didn't just find it are crazy. Okay, those people are crazy. Yeah, I'm going to believe that guy. So I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that the public wasn't notified a long time ago. Oh, see, okay, well, Trump is going even further here. Yeah, I'm just asking questions, but I think it's very sad. The public should have known. the public should have been told. And so, yeah, here's he saying the same thing where it's like it takes years to get to this level of danger. I feel very bad about it. I think people should try and find out what happened. A Biden aide said the former president's prior medical check for prostate cancer was more than a decade ago. I mean, we know this, but yeah, okay. So Republicans argue that Biden, who ran for re-election as the oldest president in history at 81, was mentally and physically unfit for office. Are they really even like wrong, even beyond the cancer? Like, I feel like we've known that the guy, and not even feel, I've seen with my eyes and listened with my ears at the guy stumbling over his own words in what they called a stutter, but the guy couldn't get words right. He couldn't get names right. He couldn't get anything right. It wasn't just a stutter, dude. He was like literally naming things that like weren't even relevant. His brain's all messed up.
Irrelevant.
I mean, once in a while, but like to a guy that it's happening to all the time on live television, do you really want that guy being the guy that's, supposedly representing you?
I think you're just being a little. You're questioning things you shouldn't be questioning. You're
I'm being ageist.
You're finding things that you shouldn't have found, so you probably shouldn't have checked.
Yeah, I'm getting a little too deep here. I should stop digging.
You should stop digging.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go to prison for digging, and then there's gonna be more digging there apparently. But
There's a lot more digging there.
Excavating even.
They call me the excavator.
So he dropped out of the race last summer after a disastrous debate performance against Trump. Yeah, we know that. According to Original Sin, a new book by journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, Biden was unable to recognize Hollywood actor and Democratic donor George Clooney or to recall the names of key aides in his final year in office. Well, I don't know. Has George Clooney changed in appearance? Because that one might be valid. I don't know.
I think he's pretty recognizable. I haven't seen him recently, but like you can usually tell it's him.
I mean, if Biden's just thinking about how he used to know him looking and he hasn't really seen him and then he just sees an old guy, he's like, who the fuck is that? I mean, I could see that.
Just some old guy.
Yeah.
No, he looks
okay, but anyway.
Looks roughly the same, yeah.
Let me find George Clooney 2025. Let's see the most recent George Clooney.
Well, it should be 2024 now.
Regardless, I think we should just even see him now.
Yeah, I looked
okay,
it up.
I mean, like
more or less the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, he's on
maybe
those
he's Biden
commercials all the time too. So I mean, it's not like you don't have a reference.
Oh well, here you go. Hold on, I need to pull up this article.
Oh,
I need to.
Okay.
I need to pull this up right here.
Like Lil Jon. Okay.
Look at this. George totally unrecognizable in Broadway debut. But this is because he had to dye his hair apparently, and I guess he shaved and stuff. But like, if Biden saw him like that, I'm just saying, it's like, okay, well, there are people saying he looks unrecognizable when he changes his look. So I'm just saying, can we really blame Biden for that one?
If you look like this.
But yeah,
Clean Georgie.
Recalling the name of key aides in his final year in office. So I guess like, but he's like, I don't really care about. Yeah, I don't really care about those aides. I don't care for them much. Those aides have been a problem. Why would I remember aides? Well, I could name some aides. Jared Fogle.
uncle last name is Fogel. Can we like? How does that happen?
I don't know.
Like,
It sounds like it's some foghorn leghorn.
If I were to suspect somebody of doing some less than legal activities, and I saw one of the suspects had a name with like Fogel, I'd be like, well, I'm not a betting man, but if I were to bet, I'm pretty sure I would put it on Fogel.
All right, let's see Fogel's surname. It says Germanic. Oh, wait, hold on. No. Well, I was trying to see which one it was. A lot of guys with the name are just American. There's an English television presenter and writer.
I mean, they're American, but I mean, in terms of like origin, that doesn't really mean a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I can't tell where they're like originally from, like where they're like, you know, family's from. I can't tell. So I was saying the one I could go off of was the English one. No, because it says like
there's like this cool thing on Wikipedia. The first tab, it's called Early Life, and if you use that, you can see.
Fogel is a surname of Yiddish/German origin.
Wow, I was not expecting the German part.
Yeah, that's see. So it is German.
German.
It is German, but let's see. So a phonetic transliteration from the Germanic word/surname Vogel, bird. So it kind of is like foghorn leghorn, folks. Let's see. Oh, hold on. I need to get back on the screen share. I was trying to share the cool.
Tra-la-little, tra-la-la.
Okay. The authors write, Biden's physical deterioration, most apparent in his halting walk, had become so severe that there were internal discussions about putting the president in a wheelchair, but they couldn't do so until after the election. You know, the thing is, too, like, had become so severe, but it was already known. It was already pointed out, and it only over time did people start recognizing it. It was only a problem when enough people recognized it. But obviously, if there were a significant portion of people that already could recognize it, you would think it would be obvious that the people that were around him the most would have known, but they still decided to put him in. They still decided to prop him up. They still decided to run his campaign because, you know, whatever reason. But I'm just saying it was known to them. But
those who know.
Yeah, what it really points out to us here is that it doesn't really matter what they know as long as they can get you to believe what they want you to believe. As long as they can get most people to believe Biden's all right, he can stay in office. As long as they can get most people to believe whatever, certain things going to happen. That's really what we're looking at here. That's really like it's not really that deep as far as like you know, being able to see it. But let's see. So the publicity generated by the book has forced senior Democrats to field questions on why they did not do more to respond to Americans' concerns about Biden's health as he campaigned for re-election. Oh yeah, you know, it's just these people that were, you know, propping him up, like certain Democrats, like, you know, certain just people in office. It's not like there's anybody else, you know, like, and I even mean like AIDS or something, you know, AIDS. AIDS, you know, my AIDS, they were the ones that really kept me going, my AIDS. But the point being is that, like, we're going to blame it on a figurehead that's already known. Like this politician, ex-politician or ex-group of politicians. We already see their face on TV. We already see them in Congress. Yeah, let's just blame those people that we can easily blame. Like these people take the fall for what could have been more coordinated than just them, you know, like senior Democrats. Okay, whatever. Nancy Pelosi or something, you know, like she's not even really House Speaker anymore, but I'm just saying Chuck Schumer, whoever, like, we're just acting like, oh, well, here's your people to hold accountable. And then that's the end of story. It's like, why didn't they do something? As if this wasn't widely known. Like, you know, the media didn't know about this. Of course they did. So like, oh, but you know, it's the fault of those senior Democrats. It's just them. Apparently nobody else that really knew about it or that we don't want to tell you knew about it. You know, we just need those fall guys. And so like what we're seeing here is that like there's not going to be any accountability whatsoever. You know, because they can literally just pin it on whoever they want and then say like, oh, they should have done something sooner. And then you literally have the fucking scapegoat right there. That's it. And then it dies, like the end of it, the end of that story. And then we go on to the next story, and they still won't do anything about it because, it's all about, their control, their power, staying in power, even if it comes to getting rid of some person that's they're whatever politician that they're like, yeah, it's over for you, bro, because, I gotta meet my bottom line or whatever. But it's there's never going to be any real somebody gets held accountable or something. It's always, let's pin it on this person.
Yeah.
Let's see. It was a mistake for Democrats to not listen to voters earlier, Senator Chris Murphy said on Sunday. And after the news of Biden's diagnosis, Vice President J.D. Vance wished him well, but asked whether Biden's doctors or staff members had sought to keep the public from knowing about the true state of his health. This is not child's play, and we can pray for good health, but also recognize that if you're not in good enough health to do the job, you shouldn't be doing the job, is what he's saying. Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, an oncologist. I mean, we already heard about this guy in that other article. I wonder if we're going to hear the exact same. No, okay. I don't know if we're going to hear about the exact same quote. This looks like a different one. He did not develop in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. Oh, so apparently this, now, didn't we see him in another article? He wasn't saying anything like this. Yeah, so apparently he had been claiming that Biden had probably been ill with cancer for some time without necessarily knowing it, is what he's saying. Okay. Without necessarily knowing it. He did not develop in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, I don't think there's any disagreement about that. But we never caught it. We never caught it, though. Yeah, we didn't know about it, though. It was there, and so they're admitting it without admitting it. They want you to think, okay, yeah, this thing that you guys are claiming that he had it before, obviously that's true. Of course. Why would we deny that? But we didn't know. We didn't know. Why are you going to blame it on us? Cancer, this cancer stuff's magic, guys. We don't know what this stuff is. It just kind of comes and we don't know.
Why?
I'm just saying.
Name your kid Ezekiel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why would you do that? You're setting him up to get bullied, bro.
All right. Well, be that as it may. What kind of name? Actually, I'm going to stick on this. What kind of name do you think, other than this, would get you bullied? Obviously Hubert.
I forgot that was a name.
Hubert, Ezekiel. I
had a list before, but now I kind of forgot all of them.
Can't men be named Susan?
What?
I've heard of this before. Aren't there guys named Susan?
They can't be
Leslie,
named Leslie.
Yeah.
Though. You're gonna get bullied for that.
Let me look up Susan male name. It is not direct. It's not a direct and masculine equivalent of Susanna. Okay, we're getting a Reddit source on that. Okay, well, it's a feminine given name. I don't know. They're all versions of the name Shoshana.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, I thought that, okay, but Leslie's is probably the one I was thinking of. I feel like I've heard Susan or something, but I don't know. Leslie, yeah, that one is just kind of, how do you get out of that? How do you get away from that?
I knew a kid named Leslie, and he would just say his name was Les. Less than.
Les. Why did my camera do that?
He would go by Les. Because he can't go by Les, because that's another issue.
Lesbian.
Exactly.
Lesbo. Hey, Les. But yeah. You said the other name was what? Not Les, but what?
Les.
Okay, Les. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I used to think it was kind of weird when a dude was named Morgan.
Yeah, that is weird. But
it kind of I kind of got used to it because it's it's more like Southern guys being named that. It just kind of sounds like, okay, well, it just sounds like that now to me.
Yeah, I've kind of become desensitized to it now.
Yeah. What's another one?
Morgan and Morgan.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, see, like, that's part of the desensitization program to make us believe Morgan's a male name.
The Morgan and Morgan psyop.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Leslie. We got I don't know, man. I feel like there are some good ones out there. Huh?
Bartholomew.
Bartholomew. Oh yeah, I was trying to think of just like woman sounding ones instead of ones you get bullied for. Bartholomew. Does anybody name their kid that anymore? How many names or people are named Bartholomew these days? Like how many US are named Bartholomew? What?
I think I got to do it now. Bartholomew.
What? Name your boy Bartholomew?
My kid Bartholomew. Yeah.
Why would you do that? Name your daughter Bartholomew so she doesn't get hit by anybody. She never, and by that I mean clapped. Never gets screwed by a guy, because then it's gonna be like, yeah, bro, I just hit Bartholomew. I was gonna say that.
Didn't you hear those other two guys that we know? They know some girl named Jake. Like, how do you get out of that?
No, I haven't heard about that actually.
Yeah, it's some girl named Jake. They were like, oh yeah, we were talking about Jake. I'm like, oh, who's Jake? Is he like a drummer or whatever? And he's like, oh no, Jake's a girl. I'm like, wait, what? And she is a drummer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Jake is so thick. Jake is so thick, man.
Good. That's really
that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. So I don't know. But I think the real plan, not to name your son something he's going to get bullied for, but to name a girl something that sounds like a guy's name. So no guy. I mean, apparently Jake is still one that's okay enough, depending on how she looks, for guys to be like, yeah, no, I like Jake. I like Jake. You need to name her something like Bartholomew. Something like name your daughter Hubert. Name her Hubert. Huel. Name your daughter name your daughter Steven.
Wait.
Name your daughter
either Gertrude or Gretchen.
I feel like Gertrude is worse.
It is a lot worse.
Gretchen you can get past Gretchen.
Gretchen can work if it's like, especially if you're like German, that's like, that's in the culture, so it's like whatever. But Gertrude, I don't know if you can get past that.
Gretchen kind of sounds like you're evil, though. You're like a witch.
It does.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's read this Biden cancer stuff. Let me see. I don't know if there's much more to talk about there, though. I mean, that kind of like, hold on, let me get off this. Let me actually just get back to this, because I feel like there was no like, I don't know if there was like any other relevant information. I feel like we kind of got what we wanted by seeing the fact that they're admitting it without admitting it. Like they do work to just say like, well, they say like, oh, well, it was always there. We didn't know. Like, they want to make you think that they're living in reality too, when they're selling you a lie. So that's how they do it. They incorporate truth into it. That, yeah, this must have been there. They want to do that part where it's based on the truth so that it seems more believable to people. But some of this stuff just seems ridiculous. Like I'm saying, like with the stuff where they're like, oh, well, we would have never known because usually men over 70 don't get this test. But, this is not just some guy, of course. And, they're going to be testing any president that they want to be keeping well and alive, So if they really wanted this man to be, well for as long as possible, and they probably still did test him. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. They claim they didn't, but what's to say they didn't? Where is this evidence that they, obviously like this is some sort of claim that it's like, well, we just didn't do it. What do you want us to produce? But at the same time, it's like, you could have the records and we wouldn't know. So, I mean, the fact that you're already telling us that, oh, well, we just didn't see this coming after it just seems so unbelievable makes me think, well, maybe I should ask about that because, it's not just some random question. If it were some cancer that didn't seem like it could have developed in a long time frame, if it was something new, okay, then that's one thing. I'm not going to be saying like, oh, well, I still would have questioned why you weren't testing it in the first place, but they're trying to sell you not only a lie, but something so unbelievable that even incorporating the truth makes it obvious to plenty of people that it just isn't real. Or it at least doesn't seem like, what they're saying is true. So I don't know if that's a slip up on their end or what, or maybe they just had no other way to cut up at this point. So that's just what they went with. They thought this would do the least damage, and there would still be people that believe this. There would still be people that we can convince, like gaslight into thinking, well, he's dealing with cancer right now. Are you really going to bring this up now? And, that's going to work with the people that, especially like Democrats and stuff like that are so ingrained in that mindset of like, we just have to support this candidate. So as soon as you start like asking questions, their emotional response is like, well, wait a minute, we can't have him asking about the guy I like. That's gonna really make it look good for the guy I don't like, and I don't want that. I don't want Trump to look good, and also I don't want. I don't even know if it's like completely cognizant, but at the same time, like I think this whole like emotional angle is just kind of something that they do have ingrained in them, as opposed to this other thing that's more of like a political survival kind of thing. So like when they have this emotional reaction, I think that might just come first before this sort of like not really logical explanation, but I think like the whole like wanting to cover for Biden comes after, and that's still part of the emotions, but that comes more with like the anger maybe, or the fear, as opposed to a necessarily like, like triggered sort of feeling that they immediately get as soon as somebody asks this, because of the way they've been conditioned to think about this. I have some sparkling water I need to consume here. I'm getting quite dry, especially with those Trump impressions.
I looked up Gertrude on Wikipedia, and the first one that came up as like an actual article was a lesbian. I'm just saying.
That's all he's saying, folks. He's just laying out the facts. He's just laying out the facts. That's all.
This is something that indeed happened.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm not making any other assertions based on this fact. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm reporting right now.
He's judging. He's not making a judgment statement out loud.
Correct.
There's no
value
being
being verbalized currently.
Exactly. So yeah, let's move on. Ye, better known as Kanye West. Kanye West. Ye at 6:40 a.m. Eastern time started his tweeting. He thread of tweets, not really like in a thread, but just a sort of like a lot of statements kind of being sent out, like a flow state, I guess you could call it. But he is done with his painter music. He's apparently for now at least, he's done this before. This has happened before. He's done this back in the day. It was like, when he went on Alex Jones, he's like, I love the painter, like I love hippos. And he came out after that saying, well, I watched, I think it was 21 Jump Street. I don't know if he actually even watched, I don't know if it was 21 or 22, but one of them, he was like saying, yeah, man, this really just touched me. The fact that Jonah Hill Feldstein, he's really touched me emotionally. I cannot hate, anybody anymore. I'm just going to become more, of a less, anti-Semitic person, so basically he's like, I'm no longer going to feel this way about this. But then he came back and, then he started talking about it again. And then he's like, on Twitter doing this storm recently, he's like, I'm the N-word, but the one that's like about a certain like political party. And then he's, he's talking about like, the song that came out, the symphony that is now an instrumental, but at first it was a certain thing that is considered TOS, but has been widely talked about, called Song of the Summer. And it's Hungry Hippo is the acronym. It's if you just want to look at the first letters, that's the acronym for it. So I'm just saying, but it was considered a catchy song and is still being played on Instagram Reel. And so he has tweeted out now that he's with anti-Semitism again at 6:40 a.m. Eastern time. He tweeted this out. Then he tweeted out afterward, God forgive me for the pain I've caused. Then he tweeted out, I forgive those who have caused me pain. Then he tweeted out, thank you, God. And then this last one kind of clears it up, because he actually clarified why he was, tweeting like this and why he was feeling this way. And he said, I simply got a FaceTime from my kids and I want to save the world again. So, if you recall from the Hungry Hippo song, the first lyrics are, first they took my kids, then they froze my bank account. So he's talking about his kids. The fact that he can't see them, the fact that he can't see his kids is what turned him to the hippo, to the painter, to the Austrian. Okay. So he was very much upset that this was his life now, that he was like, he felt like he needed the nitrous to calm himself down. And he was just like, feel like I'm stuck in my nitrous, all this. And so I guess, the fact that he couldn't see his kids was putting him inside. Of course, similar, or I guess, he hasn't really, it doesn't seem like he's felt pain like this since he lost his mom. But, that's where people's breaking point was originally. And so, they were saying he was crazy after that. And so obviously when something like major like this happens, where he can't even see his kids in the way he once did. He is feeling like crashing out. He's feeling like he needs to say something. He's feeling like he needs to do something, but he doesn't know what to do. So all he does is hungry hippo, and so he was feeling that kind of way, but then once he talks to his kids, now he starts feeling more normal, and he's like, where at least he's like thinking more about God. He's thinking more about he's thinking less about the hungry hippos, and he's like, I'm not as mad anymore. I don't want to cause pain, is what he's saying. This is what he's coming out with. And so I guess we're not going to get the album that was going to come out, World War III, aka Cuck. I guess we're not going to get Painter, Ye, and Jesus. I guess we're not going to get Nitrous. I guess we're not going to get any of that. And so yeah, I guess for now at least he's done with that, and he actually started posting again on Instagram. So now he's like getting more serious about the music he's putting out, I suppose. And but unfortunately, the song that he had released, like I said today, had no. I'm just saying it also didn't have any paint to it. That's not necessarily the same point there. But so it was featuring Young Boy Never Broke Again. It was like a bass heavy song where it was just straight, like no drums, just straight 808s and like distortion and whatever. I guess it was like a Playboi Carti song initially. So like, or I guess it was both of them on it. I don't think it was necessarily Playboi Carti's song, but I think they were both on it. And then Ye was like, just kind of like Carti. I don't know. They're having some beef or something. So Ye puts out the song without Carti. I don't know. All this going on. But I mean, now he's releasing music that's like rage sounding, I suppose, and isn't about the same topic as prior. So I don't know. Maybe he's done with that. But there's another development though. And I don't think I can play the audio on this clip in the YouTube, unfortunately. I wish I could I don't know. Maybe we need some sort of like wait break from YouTube and just go only to Rumble. So I could just play this. It's not even like, I'm not even saying anything. I'm just playing context, but I don't know. I don't want to get like, struck on YouTube. So I'm just not going to play the audio. But what happened is his choir, the choir that was on the Hungry Hippos track, on the Painter track, they were spotted in LA around a certain person's Walk of Fame chant song. So we're going to take a look at that. Okay. So, it's Diddy. It's Diddy's Walk of Fame. They were around Diddy's Walk of Fame. That's what happened on mute. But you can see them yelling Hungry Hippo, but it was his choir that just did this. I don't know if it was yesterday or what, but I just saw some people posting about this, like, just like in the past day. And they're all around Diddy's Walk of Fame. And they're yelling the words to the song that had come out recently, in like a couple weeks ago, I believe it was now. And so, I mean, this is at the same time that Ye is saying, oh, well, I'm not with that anymore. But yet they're here chanting it. I don't know if it was just an immediate change of heart as soon as he talked to his kids. I'm not sure, but we could take a look at when this was posted at Fox. Was actually like, our time. This was posted an hour. This was posted not even to Kanye's Twitter. This is some other guy that has the @Kanye West CA, but it's not actually Kanye. But this person had posted an hour before Ye's recent string of tweets. So I guess now, maybe immediately after this, what time would that be though? Like that couldn't have been the actual LA time, because LA would be like 3 hours like behind. So our time, 6 o'clock, would have actually been like 3 a.m. So this must have been like last night or something, or yesterday sometime. But yeah. So I guess one day you're having your choir, and the next day you're saying, I'm not with that anymore. I talk to my kids, I'm good now. So I don't know. But if he gets like, if he stops talking to his kids again, I take it, he's going to be back on what he was on before, perhaps. I don't know. Because he's done this flip, already. So it could just happen again, I suppose. But yeah, I guess that's perhaps the end of an era. It could be.
Does he still want a free Diddy?
Probably, probably. I don't know. I think we're gonna find out if he really wanted to free Diddy right about now, because now he's saying, this stuff isn't, who he is and stuff, and he's actually just posting to his Instagram now. If he's gonna post to his Instagram, I think he already did post like Free Puff, but if he starts posting Free Puff again to his Instagram, then we know it's for real. And he was tweeting out like free or I don't know if he tweeted out Free Cosby before it happened, but I'm sure he had expressed those sentiments. But he said in one of his recent tracks that he was happy that they had freed Cosby, and now we got to free Diddy. But the thing about Diddy too is, like, even Myron was like reporting on this. I didn't watch the bombshell video that he had dropped, but Myron was talking about this, and he said, like, one instance they were accusing Diddy of having beat Cassie, but apparently like they were in the car together before this, and like there was some instance where she actually hit him and then he hit her. And he was saying, look guys, it's not okay to hit women or whatever, but like if we're talking about like legally speaking, like that instance at least would have been self-defense. So like we're seeing instances where it's not completely like it's just Diddy like beating on her like without any sort of like any other side of it starting things. So I'm just saying that doesn't look good for the prosecution. So I don't know. I need to look at this bombshell thing that he was talking about. But overall, like when I saw that, I was kind of like, I don't know, man. There may be a case building for Diddy to like, on their end, like where they're building it, where it may legally, like he could walk. He could walk. But that doesn't really change what he did with Justin Bieber is all I'm saying. That doesn't change the night that is every 15-year-old's dream, according to Diddy. And, the things that we're doing here, we can't say. I don't know about all that. But, this whole Cassie thing, I don't necessarily think is, it was looking bad, but I don't know how bad it's really looking now.
He's going to walk to Poland.
Yeah, he took the walk to Poland. So, I mean, we could take a look at that, I guess, see if there's any developments. Sure. Would be interesting to look at. This is kind of a cultural moment of the week if you've had it. Let me see. Updates. Diddy trial updates. Yeah, Kid Cudi testified. Let's see. Okay, so there was a Cudi testimony about his relationship with Cassie and something about the Molotov cocktail car fire. So we're going to take a look at that, I guess. We'll read it. They're talking about the Diddy trial so far. So let's see. Let's see what they have to say. Tralalero, tralala.
That's right.
There we go. In Sean Diddy Combs' trial, Kid Cudi testifies about car fire relationship with Cassie Ventura. The Diddy trial so far. Oh my God, dude, this fucking pop up right here. Hold on. Let me do it clearly on this one. See if it lets me. Yeah, there we go. This is a lot better. This is so much better. And it still gives you the images. It doesn't look as good, but you don't get all these damn pop-ups, dude. I don't want to see that. The Diddy trial so far, jurors have from Combs' ex-girl. Wait, they have heard. You mean that you? Wow. So far, jurors have from. What great writing. So far, jurors have heard from Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, several of Combs' employees, a federal agent, and male escorts. Yeah, honestly, that alone, let's lock Diddy up. But rapper Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi, took the stand to testify about his brief relationship with Ventura. Ventura previously testified that Combs threatened to blow up Mescudi's car. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. So here's what Kid Cudi's testimony was. Mescudi described a series of unsettling events that followed. So let's see. So apparently he had a brief relationship with Cassie in 2011, and that was during a period that he thought that she wasn't with Diddy. So basically he described a series of unsettling events that followed, including a distress call from Ventura, which is Cassie, a suspicious break-in at his home, and his Porsche being destroyed by a Molotov cocktail. Though Combs later offered a general apology, Muscati testified that he never received confirmation from police about Combs' involvement in the break-in or arson. Under cross-examination, the defense highlighted Ventura's role in sharing Muscati's address and questioned her honesty in her relationships with both men. That too, like the whole Cassie's truthfulness was also called into question in that instance where I think like this was something Myron was talking about. I think it had to do with that same instance I was talking about with like her perhaps like hitting him first. And also she got like some months wrong where like at first she was saying it was a certain, like something happened on a certain month. And then it actually, after she had gotten prepared for trial, then she was saying it was another month. So it seems like there is like some sort of like way in which they're telling her to speak about, I mean, obviously they are their lawyers, but I'm just saying like, it seems more likely that, it's not the side of truth completely, at least. And so, yeah, basically they're questioning Cassie's honesty about, having been in these relationships with either or, like, as far as, telling, and also apparently sharing Cuddy's address. So that is also crazy. I mean, Cassie does not seem like the most sane person here, but let's see. Muscati left the federal courthouse in Manhattan after testifying for about an hour and a half Thursday. Wow, they did not do him justice in that sketch, man. They did Cuddy dirty.
Yeah. I don't even know what this guy looks like to begin with, so.
He's up here. This is what he looks like in real life. And this is what they drew him as.
It's close enough.
Yeah. I mean, it just like, wow, they gave him a lot more forehead wrinkles. He does have some, but they gave him like 3 instead of 2. And then, I don't know. He looks older here than he does in like, in real life compared to here. It makes him look older. Now, I will say, as far as like the features themselves, they did make him look like, I don't know. This is just not what I would picture him looking like if I only seen that photo. I probably shouldn't finish what I was thinking about as far as how it looks, though. So Combs' executive assistant testified. George Kaplan, an executive assistant of Combs, concluded his testimony Thursday after taking the stand on Wednesday on cross. He said he was on a cross, bro. They crucified him. He said working for Combs was the hardest he ever worked in his life. Damn, he must have been part of those freak offs. Attorneys also asked Kaplan about Combs' baby oil purchases and love of applesauce. I didn't even know about that one. He also testified Combs' relationship with Kim Porter, the mother of several of Combs' children, was different than other women. But the applesauce, Diddy was into this for eating it. I mean, you need some energy. So in those freak offs, if he's going to watch the freak offs, he needs some sort of quick energy to keep him focused and alert. You don't want to be eating a bunch of starchy like food. You need some cooked apples. You don't want to be eating a bunch of raw apples.
He's got some like applesauce on like a table out front. All right, anybody gets tired, I got some applesauce right there.
Dude, he's got him in he's got the applesauce in like a trough for these women to eat out of when they're tired.
I mean, you are using energy when you try to open the applesauce and you try to like.
That's true. He's trying to keep it out like a buffet. Let's see. So makeup artist Myla Morales describes Ventura's injuries. So Cassie's injuries. Morales testified she witnessed injuries on Ventura's face once in 2010. She also spoke about, and that too, like if there was an instance like we already had seen where it seems like she was actually hitting Diddy than Diddy hit her. I mean, like, yeah, it tells us that she was probably hit by him, but now it's like calling into question that like, was it like her that had done something first physically, which would mean that legally he wouldn't be like held to the same account, like that could be considered self-defense. So I don't know. I mean, like that seems more like that's left up more to interpretation. Like, I mean, I guess it's like, okay, she had the injuries, but now you have to kind of interpret something from that. You can't necessarily get enough information from just that statement. I don't know. But she also spoke about a night at the Beverly Hills Hotel when she woke up to Ventura and Combs arguing. She said she heard yelling and screaming behind a closed bedroom door. Then Combs stormed out and she found Ventura with a swollen lip, busted eye, and knots on her head. Okay. Yeah, that speaks more to what could be happening, because if you don't notice anything on Diddy, unless you didn't say anything about, or you didn't pay attention, I don't know. But yeah, that is a lot to have. Morales said she packed up her things and brought Ventura to her house nearby, where Ventura stayed with her for a few days. She said she also called her friend, who is a doctor, to check on Ventura's stomach and ribs, and the friend suggested they visit the emergency room. She added Ventura did not want to go, and they did not call the police. Morales testified that she was afraid of Combs and feared for her own life. Now, see, like, what is if you're like, I don't want to press charges or something, or you're like, I don't want to go to the police, when is it sort of a thing that you can still be held to account for that? You know, what's the statute of limitations for something like that after the person's like, oh, I'm not pressing charges, or I'm not going to go to the police? I mean, I'm saying I'm not going to go to the police is different than, you know, I'm telling the police I'm not pressing charges, right?
Yeah.
I also don't know what the statute is on that, but let's see. So we got the Oracle in here. What's up, man? Said, what's up, brothers? Working overtime tonight, so I won't be able to watch, but you guys have a great weekend. Make sure to upload it so I can after the stream ends. It's going to be on the live. I do need to add, like, make sure I'm adding all the podcasts to the playlist, but it's going to be in our live section on our YouTube channel anyway, so it'll still be there. It's just not going to be under videos because
you're saying this, but he's going to have to watch it to hear you saying it.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. Yeah, that's you got a point. Wow. Well, he said that. Yeah, he did say that a few minutes ago too. So I don't know. I thought he would still be here. I don't know. I guess. Well, he also did put out that second message like a couple minutes after. So I don't know. He might still be here. That was like a minute ago that he put that out, that last one. So I don't know. I don't know if he was here for like another minute. Perhaps he heard. I don't know if he did. We'll tell him next time. We'll just be like, bro, he also has watched our streams back saying, damn, I wish I could have watched this one. So I'm sure he sees it in his feed. I don't know. We don't re-upload it because it's like, we're already saying what we're going to say. We don't really say anything that's like not like, you know, for the most part, you know, going to, you know, cause problems for us or something. So we just kind of leave it up because we just already watch what we're saying.
Oh, okay. We're good.
Well, he's still here. Yeah, he's still here. Fair. But yeah, that would have been a sort of a predicament, if you will. You know, I'm getting, you know, it's interesting. I'm getting some of the clips, AI clips made for me by Restream. I need to check those out because the past couple of streams, we might actually have some clips that are usable, like for shorts.
Fair.
So like we might, if I keep doing Restream instead of StreamYard, because I know StreamYard does like clips, but I don't think they do like the same shorts, like sort of, I don't know if they do that same thing now, but it looked more professional with the Restream one as far as what I was seeing. So I'll check them out and I'll let you know if they look good or not. But if that's the case, we could get some good shorts from our streams. But let's see. Court resumes with next witness. Court returned from lunch break, and celebrity makeup artist Mila Morales was called to the stand shortly before 1:15 p.m. Bro, what time are they eating lunch? Lunch break. I guess they do meet up pretty early, but what time does court start? Like 9?
I don't know. I would assume that would depend on the state.
So maybe breakfast is on you. You go like, you know, let's say 6, 7, eat breakfast before you get there, maybe 7. And then you eat lunch at like, I don't know. Well, I guess you're supposed to eat after, but you know, if they're giving you like, let's say an hour for lunch and your lunch is at like noon, well, now you have to go like 4 or 5 more hours. I guess, you know, I don't know.
For people,
bro, I just couldn't imagine like having to sit in a courtroom and like, you just have to pay attention to this boring stuff, which I guess people are interested in the Diddy stuff, but like you have to listen to so much information, dude. Your brain is burning like crazy trying to pay attention. And here they are telling you, oh, now you can go eat, you know?
You're not thinking like the average metabolism person though. That's like enough for them. They're probably
but I would go crazy. I would be like, what the hell? Like, dude, you're killing me here.
I mean, then don't go to the fucking hearing.
Oh, I'm just saying, if you get called in jury duty, you might get called in. You know, I'm just saying. But I mean, it can happen to anybody, and not even for just this.
Registered to vote?
Oh, you could just like undo that.
Yeah,
and
I got a letter
recently
list where they're like, "Hey, we see that you've been registered to vote. Do you still want to be registered to vote?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." And they canceled it.
Oh, might as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it guarantees you won't get called, but it greatly reduces your chances.
Also, the fact that I'm just not voting, I feel like would help.
That also helps, yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't voted in the past. Like, I've voted like once.
Exactly, me too.
Yeah,
So I think
I voted
good.
in 2020, and that was the only time I ever voted. Yeah, and it was 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even vote like down ballot. I just vote president. I did do the amendments that time, but I didn't do anything else.
I think I did vote the other stuff too, but I didn't know what I was doing.
I
think
kind
I
of went
did
like really deep. I got like really deep into it after 2020, but then like by the time the next election came around, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Exactly.
Those who know. Those who know.
Those who know. Indeed. It was like that one guy we know.
Court.
He was like, bro, you guys aren't going to vote? Dude, don't you know that this election is like the election of all time or some shit like that?
This is the most important election of our lifetimes. Guess what we're going to hear in 2028?
Yeah.
Guess what we're going to hear in the midterms? Guess what we're going to hear in 2028? Guess what we're going to hear in those midterms after that? Because we've already been hearing it over and over and over. I'm saying maybe they'll chill it out a bit. Maybe next time they'll be like, it's all right. And then next time they're going to be like, no, but guys, seriously, this is the most important one ever. They're just going to cut it one time just for the meme, I guess. But they don't.
They'll have a hard time finding someone as divisive as Trump.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
use that.
But they had been saying the most important even before Trump, like in election. I mean, there's a whole clip of clips on clips. We need to watch that. We need to watch
the Taylor Swift thing. The Taylor Swift is not a psyop. And it's like all the news companies or whatever.
Is that what they said? They said Taylor Swift is not a psyop?
I think it was like edited or whatever. But there's like another one where they're talking about how shit. I forget exactly what it was actually now. It was something like your local news station is Jesus, I muted myself like a retard. It's like something like along the lines of yeah, I can't remember, man. It sucks. Every election,
let's see.
Oracle said something here. I can't. Can I pull it up? I don't think I can though.
I don't know that you can. Every election is the most important election ever on the Rose. I'm gonna just have you guys in my earbuds. Fuck it, we ball. Why not, bro?
Let's do it. Might as well.
Depends on what you're doing. If you don't need to focus like crazy, if you can have us there, then that's fine, dude. Might as well.
Might as well.
Okay, so I'm trying to find a compilation. I've seen it before. I just don't know if I can find the same video. Yeah, I'm seeing videos where they're literally saying it's the most important election ever. But it's like from different years that they've been saying that. But yeah. Next time they're probably going to be like, they're probably still going to be riding on Trump after that because they're going to be like, guys, this predecessor, do you guys really want another 4 years of Trump? This is the most important election of our lifetimes.
Yeah, they might do that actually.
How long are they going to go on that for, though? That's actually like an interesting one. Well, if the Trumps stay in politics, then it's going to go crazy because then it's going to be like, Trump Jr., well, we already know what his father did. This is the most important of our lifetimes. So, I mean, they're going to use that for as long as they can, even after he's gone. Even after he's gone, they're going to use this. They're going to do. I mean, and they could just keep pointing back to Trump. Remember what Trump did? Remember who Trump was? This is the second coming, guys. This is the second coming of Trump. I'm gonna come.
Do you think that it's gonna be as
it.
potent as it is now? Do you think like people are gonna keep falling for it and shit?
Oh man. Let me get my camera back on here. Yeah, the thing is, as far as whether it's going to be as potent, if we're going to see people saying do people really believe this is the most important election of our lifetimes? If the media is effective in it, I still think there's definitely going to be that same sort of hype behind it because it's been like that increasingly. So, even in 2020, you were thinking like, okay, is it going to? Well, I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying people in general were thinking, is this going to follow through to the next time. Like everybody that was in our camp that was thinking about this, like, understanding it for what it is. And I mean, they did it because they brought back Trump versus Biden. Then they did Trump versus Kamala. So they got like, the MAGA side even more amped to like vote against the Democrats now and vote for Trump. And then, still like the fact that Trump's rerunning got people in, even though the Republicans were even considering bringing a different candidate, but it ended up being Trump. So now they're like, okay, well, we need, to stop Trump, like the people on the Democrat side. So I don't know if we get like JD Vance, right, who was already considered this like Trump Jr. basically, not actual Trump Jr., but considered this sort of guy that is like exactly the same and is actually pretty bad. And they were even like debating, the vice presidents, like who's gonna be the worst one, or who's gonna be the one that I need to side with or whatever. He was seen as this character that, not only could be memed, like, all those photos of him, but he was seen as somebody that is to be feared, I suppose, or like, to be, I guess, like gone against as much as Trump. So, I mean, I could definitely see it if they invoke that, that this is the second coming of Trump. This is going to be 4 more years of Trump. Like if they keep railing, that fucking headline, like this is Trump. This is Trump Jr. This is the next Trump. This is the second coming. All the policies are going to be the same. It's never going to end. It's going to be, the exact same stuff we've seen, this time, they're probably going to call social issues, if people still care about the LGBTQ, whatever stuff, they're going to be like, he's anti-LGBTQ. I don't know if that one's working as well now, though. I don't think so. But it's still like, there's still prevalence of people caring about that issue. I don't think it's as effective as it used to be, definitely, because people are kind of tired of this too. They're tired of they're tired of the idea that like, these people should be respected beyond what, like you would a normal person who like, I'm not calling them normal. That's going to be a problem. But, saying that, I don't agree with you calling yourself whatever, with this or that, or, whatever, this was already a standard that we had for, your like respect of other people. Like if you don't respect, I don't know, somebody, you're not going to call them of the same title that other people would when they respect them. I don't know, I'm trying to think of something other than like doctor or some sort of senator or, something. But point being is, now it's like, oh, well, you're literally rejecting who I am. You're saying I don't exist. And people have just kind of gotten fed up because they're like, what is this? This doesn't make sense. Like I'm saying you don't exist. No, I'm saying you exist, but I'm just saying I don't like what you are. That's apparently what people are saying. I'm not making any judgment about that one, but point being there is that people are totally fed up with things like that. They're fed up like with seeing what they're seeing now, where Republicans have been sharing it around, like I've said, like where this stuff, like the kind of books that they're showing in elementary schools and lower, and people have been trying to come up with the idea that like, oh, you guys are just anti-gay, you guys are, and they try to propagandize this, you guys are anti-gay, you guys are anti-whatever. But I mean, the truth comes out, and then people are like, wait a minute, this is pretty weird. same with like pride parades, where it was like at first, whatever judgment you had initially, they weren't involving kids in it. Now they're kids in it, and you're like, what? And there's like kid drag stuff, and they're like, it's not sexual, the kids going to drag or the kids being in drag, it's grooming. And we all know this. So, once people start seeing this stuff, they're very desensitized to it. But overall, I would say I don't think just because people are seeing the truth on these issues that they're not going to be just as riled up to vote for the next person. Like it's still going to be like, now if they see the way of like, this stuff's wrong, now they're going to find the politician that says this is wrong. I feel like there's very much a reliance on this authority of politicians to be the ones that are, quote unquote, representing your views. So as soon as your views change on something, now they're trying to get some sort of political entity or some person that can come in and express those views so that you start following that person. I feel like, with Trump, he was so like, effective at being divisive that I wouldn't be surprised if they start trying to engineer more people that are just as divisive. I mean, AOC, like herself, was somebody that pretty much auditioned for this role of who she is. Like she was just some like, I don't know, waitress or whatever, something like that. And then she becomes this like far leftist that is talking about all these issues and like becoming this like, part of the squad or whatever. So, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised is like, once Trump's gone, they just start manufacturing people or statements or something or headlines about these people that just make it seem more and more infuriating to people, to the point where they're looking at it and they're like, I have to say something, I have to do something, I have to go vote, this or that. They're very good at getting people to do this stuff. I don't think just because, you and I or you or I are tired of it, that, everybody else is going to just be tired of it. There are going to be people that are like getting tired. There are going to be more people, but just as far as like the masses, I don't think it really stops here.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. I mean, like, do you notice more people like around you getting tired of it, or do you notice more? Because I've noticed more people getting into it, especially in this past election. Maybe post-election, there are people that were kind of upset with how things went after the fact, or they're like less inclined to be as politically active. But we're not near an election. We're away from an election now, so people kind of stop thinking about it as much. You stop hearing about it as much. But then when the election comes, you definitely start hearing about it more.
Yeah, I don't know if I could really say that's the case, considering the circles I move in are more likely to just agree with my point of view on things. So I don't know if that's a real accurate sample of the average American. So it's kind of
well, but some people, like maybe some family or some friends that maybe aren't as much in these circles, like at least acquaintances at the very least, or people you follow like on social media, maybe that you used to know. Maybe you have them still on something and they're still talking about this stuff. It happens to me.
I don't hear about it a lot outside of like media stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess, but it definitely seems like we're seeing more sort of outrageous things being said, whether that be something funny or something that's like, why are people even saying this? So I don't know. I mean, it kind of seems like it would have to get to a breaking point. They can't really contain it forever, even if they are like having to rely on, it's basically a bubble. Like they have to rely on it becoming more and more outlandish so that people are like, well, I have to get into this now. I have to feel a certain way about this now. And, or just sparking like that emotional reaction that, blindsides them from thinking logically and saying, well, maybe I shouldn't engage with this. But there's only so much to get to the point where it's like, well, what now? I guess. So I feel like they might, it might be less effective because of that over time, but I can only see it really not stopping here for now. At least I could see it getting more ridiculous until they run out of that steam. I think what it would really have to be, if I can say one more thing, is that like we would have to feel like, and people were saying this, I believe, about the USSR, like when they were living in it, but you would have to feel like things are getting so far divorced from reality for there to be really like a sort of realization overall that like what the hell's going on,
Now, what in the tarnation is happening out there?
What the hell?
I mean, see, the issue with that is that there's a different threshold for when people are like that, depending on their views. So,
yeah, perhaps. I mean, I thought about that, but like, there would have to be a sort of, I guess, breaking point for a majority, and at that point, I don't know, you'd have to see something. I would think. I don't know, but the Oracle says, I never understood the drag queen stuff. Apparently women can do drag. I thought the whole thing was that a male was doing it. I thought so too. I wasn't familiar that women were doing drag. I had not heard of this. I don't know if Greg's heard of this.
No, but I would argue they already are.
So let's take a look at that Cuddy article again. I just want to like see if there was anything else, and then we can move on from that after. But we only have so much more anyway, aside from like stuff on Twitter, but which is still entertaining, I would say, because it can be pretty funny what some people have to say. But so this was the courtroom sketch here, which I thought was kind of funny because look how Diddy's looking back, dude. That's kind of funny. He has gray hair now. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, apparently.
Unless that's not really
Is that fresh?
Okay. What?
Dude, that looks like fresh.
Here?
Yeah.
On the right? Oh, that's Kid
No.
Cudi.
Bro, that's fresh.
Think about this.
BBC?
So Diddy, you like BBC? Diddy, so what age would you say you stopped liking boys at? Why do you not like men? Do you like men? Diddy, what would you say is enough? What would you prefer, length or girth?
Bro.
Diddy, what kind of baby oil would you say we should use? What kind of oil mix?
You're not stuttering at
Let's see, Miss Cuddy's. Diddy, would you say we should use vegetable oil? I personally like coconut oil. Okay, hold on. We have this here. So this is Roan, the woman that sings "Good Luck, Babe." I don't know that song, but I know the chick Roan
Chappelle
or whatever. Yeah. So it does drag for some shows, but she already looks like she's doing drag all the time. I don't understand what the difference is. Does drag for some shows? She always looks like that. Anyway, I mean, I guess maybe the aesthetic, but it's technically not drag. Yeah. I don't know
like
that.
she's doing drag appearing makeup, but since she is a woman, as far as we know, then I guess it wouldn't be considered drag, because then it's just her doing makeup like a retard.
Yeah, they had Kid Cudi on the stand because he was talking about his relationship with Cassie, and basically like what happened to him during that with his car getting lit up and stuff on fire. Let's see. So this is a fresh question to Diddy. Diddy, what do you prefer, yo or Gert? Gert, yo. Okay, so Mescudi on why they broke up. Prosecutors asked Mescudi why his relationship with Ventura ended. He said the drama was getting out of hand and that he wanted to give her some space. Is it like bother you? I know this is how they do it, like, in court settings, but like she should be Cassie though. Like I don't care about the guys, but like usually like, especially like when we're talking about politicians, that's how we usually say it. Like if we're talking about Kamala, I don't say Kamala. We don't say like Harris. We say Kamala Harris. We don't say Harris. We say Kamala. But if we're talking about Trump, we don't say Donald Trump. We might say Donald Trump, but we don't say like Donald most of the time. We say Trump, or we say Donald Trump. Like guys go by the last name.
I've seen women go by the last name pretty frequently.
I don't know. Usually it's not like that. There are times, but it just looks weird to see her called Ventura, man. It's like it should be Cassie. I don't know. That's how you know her, But
I don't know. I don't know her.
But it's still more normal for Diddy to be called Combs. I don't know, man. It just sounds. That's how usually it is. Like even in politics, like usually. So it just sounds right. But anyway, he said the drama was getting out of hand. He said the drama was getting out of hand, and that he wanted to give her some space. When asked what drama, he mentioned the house incident and said that he feared for both of their safety. What house incident? When he asked why, he said he knew Combs was allegedly violent. He said Ventura had told him Combs would hit and kick her. Okay, but that's what, I guess like that's what she's saying to somebody. Like, I don't know, man. Like, okay, you can see this is like piling evidence, but does it really give us like an objective view when a lot of this is what she's saying to people, Like, I get this is part of it, but it seems like, especially the way that like, it's being reported is like, I mean, I get that they're just going to report what was said, but like, I don't know, man. It just seems like a lot of information that isn't necessarily like as relevant. Cause it's kind of like, how can you verify that?
I mean, you can't.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying it's like it's what somebody else is saying that she said to them.
Right.
That it's not like you saw it.
Yeah.
So you're getting information from one of the people involved and repeating that information back. Correct. So, I mean, it's not like we have some better evidence here that, at least yet, I don't know, but or at least from what I've seen.
The fact that it's a witness out, not part of the main two parties, gives it a bit more credence, I suppose, because it would take. I mean, first of all, you got like the oath that you got to take, which you're supposed to assume is taken in good faith. And then the other part is, okay, well, even if they are making it up, it'll be a lot more effort to get like a whole set of witnesses to make up the same thing.
Well, it doesn't even have to be made up, Cuddy. It could literally just be that Cassie said that happened to her and he was repeating that back.
Right.
So she could have, I'm just saying could have told him this without it actually being true. I'm not saying it's not. But all I'm saying is that this is only a statement of something he heard from her. So it's almost just the same as her telling the court, he did this to me. I mean, so that's like kind of an equivalent statement. I mean, it's like, how can we know, like, based on just what somebody says? It just does. Like, if he said, like, the friend saying, I saw these, like, like bruises and stuff, makes more sense than saying, oh, well, she told me about it too. I mean, that's at least more evidence than, well, she told me it happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But I mean, they're not obviously like weighing the information here. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. That's still going to affect how the jury views it, So it's like,
yeah. I mean, the thing is, as far as I know, it's not any kind of binding thing until you provide evidence that was the case.
All right. Let's see. Cross-examination of Mescudi. On cross-examination, Mescudi was asked about the investigation into the car fire. He said he reached out to police a couple times, but never heard back about fingerprints or anything. Need a drink here. All right. He acknowledges there's nothing that puts Combs or anyone affiliated with Combs near his property at the time. He said his relationship with Ventura had ended, and he was confused, had no clue that she had been dating Combs while they were together. He was asked more about the relationship, saying Combs asked him to make a song with her in 2010. He said he liked her a lot. She was smart, talented, and fun to be with. He said Ventura told him about physical abuse from Combs, but did not discuss any sexual abuse. Okay. The defense asked Mescudi if Combs made it clear that he was also confused Ventura had been dating both of them, saying, the person who played you is the same person who played Combs, true? Mescudi responded, true. I mean, like, I guess it would be more significant that she didn't discuss that abuse, but at the same time, also like on her side, it's like maybe she's not willing to tell people about that. But like all this, like she said this to me in the first place, I just kind of like see as like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Combs, Mescudi, and Ventura all meet. Mescudi said he reached out to Combs and told him they needed to talk. He said Combs arranged for them to meet at the Soho House in Hollywood a day after the car fire. He said when he got there, Combs looked like a Marvel supervillain. Okay. He said Combs' demeanor was very calm. So he wasn't even dressed like a Marvel supervillain. He just said he looked like one. Okay, well, that's your frame of reference, buddy. What are you on Reddit all day? Let's see. So he said Combs' demeanor was very calm, which he found weird and off-putting. Okay, so you find it weird that somebody's acting calm. That's the only word I'm seeing described as calm. I guess, I don't know. If you were like concerned, I guess it would be concerned and frantic. I don't know. Mescudi said they discussed his relationship with Ventura and that Combs said he should have known she was his girl. He said Ventura told him she and Combs had broken up and that he took her word for it. He said Ventura eventually joined them in the meeting, and he was upset to find out she went back to Combs. Mescudi said as she and Combs shook hands at the end, as he and Combs shook hand at the end, he asked Combs, what are we going to do with my car? He said Combs responded saying, I don't know what you're talking about. He was later asked what he thought of Combs' response, that he was lying. I mean, I don't know. You can't. again, it's like that's your opinion, I guess. I don't know. But we don't. What's the sign that you thought he was lying? I don't know. Are we gonna? I mean, maybe that was discussed there. It's just not written here. Muscuddy also said he saw Combs a few years later, and Combs pulled him aside to apologize for what Muscuddy called all that bullshit. He said he found peace after the apology because it was the last thing he expected to hear. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Like that still could have just been referencing the shit with Cassie. I don't know. Muscuddy says his car was hit with a Molotov cocktail. It says in January 2012, he got a call from his dog watcher that his Porsche 911 Cabriolet was on fire in his driveway. He said he immediately went home and found the damage to his car along with a burnt up bottle. He just a hole in the roof and other damage on the driver's side. He called the bottle a Molotov cocktail with something explosive inside that you light and causes it to ignite. Okay. He said law enforcement responded and he filed a report. The car was not able to be repaired. When he asked in the court what his reaction was to his car being set on fire, he responded, what the fuck? Okay. Let's see. So, I mean, there's not really much as far as like this being linked, I guess, to Diddy as far as what we're seeing here, as far as what Cuddy believes is the evidence. I mean, if Cuddy had reason to believe it was him, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some evidence out there that I'm not reading here, but man, I don't know. Let's see. Someone else is among us in the chat.
Among Us?
The Oracle says, Diddy is Kang the Conqueror. I was Kang and shit. Clearly, per testimony.
Among Us.
Uncle Ben, what happened?
Squid Game.
Okay. Are we going to see anything about them? Because they say what to know about Cuddy. They're giving you what to know about Kid Cudi. Are we going to see anything that has to do with like evidence as far as that car thing?
He's lying.
Yeah, this is no kid right here. Dude, is he fucking... That's not even a haircut. He fucking tattooed his skull? His scalp? That's crazy.
That's improvising, adapting, and overcoming.
Why would you do that, dude? That like flowers and all that on your scalp is wild. And he did it to his hairline. Imagine he starts balding.
He looks like a cholo now.
Get out! Okay. No, Tuco never said that, by the way. But
well, hold on. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, so they're just describing his music and stuff, but where is anything about this this car? Oh my god. Photos of show some of the items the feds say they recovered. All that Astroglide too. And baby ducks, like rubber ducks.
Astroglide.
What is going on? Why does he have the rubber ducks? It's like a lube.
Ooh.
Yeah, personal lubricant.
That's not good.
Yeah, Diddy's been enjoying those freak offs, man. But yeah, I don't know what the ducks were for exactly. Maybe put them in the pool. Prosecutors have been releasing photos of evidence they say they encountered during their raid of Combs' Miami home. They got some pills.
Just colored aspirin.
As well as photos of high heels and sex toys. Yeah, I don't know, man. They didn't really include much about the actual car. Now we are done with this story, by the way. That's I was just looking into the Diddy update. The Diddy scoop.
The Diddy details?
The Diddy details. The Diddy debrief. Let's see. So we're going to talk about now, speaking of, first of all, a cultural moment of the week. Speaking of culture, okay? Speaking of culture, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Kid Cudi. That's part of the culture. The culture. We're going to talk about some more about the culture. The culture. Got a Twitter video here for you guys about a African American gentleman speaking on a given issue right now that is pressing in his community. Okay, he is of course talking about a certain distaste for his kinfolk. So I just want to show his views. I want to show a black on this. I just want to show this. So we can just like, you know, listen to what a man has to say, because we talked a little bit about this last time. We need to listen and learn, okay?
Let me make this brief as possible. I don't know what black fatigue is. I don't know where it came from. But in public, if you use it my way, I'm gonna beat this shit out you.
What?
Hey, man, you know, I hear they saying they're tired of us, man. But if you say that to me, oh, I'm going to show you a lesson, man. I'm going to physically fight you. I'm going to assault you if I hear that. I'm going to assault you. If you say you don't like me because of behavior you saw from people that totally don't represent me, they don't represent me in any way, man. Those people, them violent people, how dare you assume I'm a violent person? If you assume I'm a violent person, I'm going to beat you up.
You think he'll beat you up harder if you say you're tired in the middle of getting beat up?
Oh, man. You know, this is really giving me fatigue, all right.
I'm so tired.
So you want some more, huh? But yeah, it's so ironic. I mean, does he know what he's talking about or not? Because it's like, it just seems so perfect that you don't understand what it is, yet you're doing the exact thing that people are complaining about. It's like, it's crazy. You know, like, don't you think if you wanted to promote like a better, I guess, like not outlook, but I guess a better like assumption of how an interaction with you would be, that's not the sort of thing you'd be talking about doing? Like, it just doesn't compute. Like, it seems like if you're saying, well, first of all, you're trying to like fear people into or scare people into submission. Basically, that's your tactic. And that's been a tactic for a while, but you're continuing with it. And not only that, like, you're making no effort to actually fix the issue or help, you know, get us closer to the issue being fixed. You're now saying, well, nah, you know, fuck all that, man. I'm gonna just fight you. I'm gonna knock the lights out of you, man. I'll turn you to Swiss cheese, man. Quit playing with me.
I am indeed fatigued. If
it's just
someone
ironic.
Attacks me.
It's just ironic. It's just ironic, man. It's like we could be in a better position if you would just say, hey, look, I hear that people have a certain problem with us, you know, like, you know, that's, you know, he's already making it about, you know, people in general of his complexion, but he's saying like, look, you know, I hear all these negative stereotypes, and I just want to say, like, you know, I don't personally see why you would take it that I myself would have like cause some sort of issues for you just because of the way I look. You know, look, I'm a member of my community and I do good work or something. You know, if you were that kind of guy, then, you know, it's like, well, now it's like, okay, this seems like a respectful guy. It's like, okay, well, thank you for pointing out that, you know, like, not every single black person like would be like this. Like, you know, now it's like those people that are saying that, it's like, it gives them kind of like, okay, look, I mean, if we could all just get along, then yeah, we don't have any problems. If we could just, if there is no violence or anything like that. But then you start saying, no, I'm gonna punch you, I'm gonna assault you. It's like, okay, well, now you just literally like you're literally promoting the same exact thing, like making people even more inclined to say, look, this is exactly what we're talking about. But yeah, the Oracle says, painfully ironic. It's like how it's like the how would you feel if you missed breakfast question. Yeah, honestly, it kind of is. Yeah, man, I had breakfast though. I don't understand.
What you mean if I had breakfast? I had breakfast, yo.
What do you not get about that? What do you not? I'm trying to tell you. I had breakfast, bro. If you want me to tell you, I had 2 eggs, I had grits, and I had some Henny. That's all. But it was enough. But it was enough, man. I don't know why you acting like I didn't have breakfast when I did eat, bro. Eggs, grits, and Henny is a meal. I don't get it. I feel like that, mine is the Henny necessarily, for breakfast. I'm just saying it's not that far off. But anyway, look, can we just all get along? Can we just all do that? That'd be nice. That would be nice if we could all just do that. No more needless assaults on people. That would help a lot. If there were no needless assaults on people, everybody that's doing needless assaults on people, stop now, and the problem will be solved. There was just recently, I was just reading about this on, there was a girl, I forgot her name. It was like Kaden something, but I don't know if it was stabbed or what by her friend, dude. And, there would be a reason people would say that there was a reason to have expected it, I'm just saying. If the people that are doing these killings will stop, we can live at peace. We can live at peace. We can be friends. We can all be friends. Okay. So,
Shit.
Let's see here. What do we have here? Yeah, if proper manters that would come into my breakfast and coffee establishment and ask me for a refresher, you got to know that type shit. That would make me very happy. If he would just record a wholesome video and do that. It is entertaining. It is entertaining. But let's see. So Mr. Greg has brought this story to my attention. Speaking of getting a lot of holes in you, right? Get a lot of holes in you. This one's an interesting story. Only Annie Knight bleeding a lot after sleeping with 583 men in 6 hours. Brilliant.
Bleeding? Gee. Well, first of all, I expect
here.
that. Second of all, Jesus.
Let's pull it up. Yeah. If she had switched up the hole, she wouldn't be bleeding a lot. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
That might be what the other ones were doing.
Yeah, that might have been the
Cheap?
cheat.
Oh, cheat. Oh, I see. Yeah. You gotta be able to back it up. One hole per count. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to wait for this. It's like kind of. Okay, I'm seeing it again. It was telling me connection was lost for a second. Can you hear me good?
You mean, can I hear you well?
Can you hear me well?
There's a delay, but yeah.
Try closing some tabs or something. Doing the Clearly reader because that seems to load pretty well. If it would, no, I guess the Clearly reader doesn't want to pull up for this. So, Australian OF star, as they call it, Annie Knight revealed how her body is coping after sleeping with 583 men in 6 hours. If there's such a delay, maybe I should stop the screen share and just read it. Hold on. Let me just stop the screen share. Okay. We're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Me just reading it to you guys from my own screen. Speaking to Us Weekly in the late hours of Tuesday, May 20th on, well, did she achieve her goal?
You mean US Weekly?
I guess she
or
did.
Us Weekly?
It's U lowercase s. Capital U, lowercase s, weekly.
Huh. Weird. All right.
Yeah, us weekly. Night 28. Man, 28. Confirmed she experienced bleeding, which resulted in blood tests and further medical testing in the days that followed her challenge.
Expired.
I'm not doing very well.
Expired.
I've been bleeding a lot since the challenge. Night. Who noticed that she suffers from endometriosis, told us. It was definitely a bit raw. It was definitely a bit raw down there. And I did get a small cut. Not a small cunt. Not to be confused.
You're doing more British
Night
than
added.
you are.
Well, I guess it was. I guess it was a small cunt though if it was bleeding. After 583 guys, I don't know. But so Knight added that she was unsure if the bleeding was a result of the challenge or her endometriosis, defined by the Mayo Clinic as a condition where tissue that is similar to the inner lining of the uterus grows outside it. Okay. So she doesn't even know what her thing is so far, what the whole deal is. Oh man, this image is crazy. It's not actually from the event, but it's from the title, and it's just the caption is insane, dude. So, but Knight, based in I'll show it. And Knight, based in Queensland's Gold Coast, shared her or via her Instagram story 6 hours prior to speaking to us that she had been admitted into hospital, posting a photo of herself wearing a blue hospital gown. The influencer peered up into her camera lens solemnly. Wow, what a way to describe it. All right, let's get it up. Not for her, but to show the streamer or to the the podcasters. Keep going. I'm waiting on it. Like the transition is going to about that because your like audio thing kind of like pops up a bit. There we go. Okay. So this is what we're seeing here. I guess 583 guys in a day. Isn't that good for your body? Laughing emoji. Yeah, she definitely mentioned from posting this for sure. I mean, let me try like stop it. Let me try doing an Australian accent here. I guess 583 guys in a day. Isn't that good for your body? Is that better? Yeah. Okay, I can barely hear you. You sound so quiet. Let's see. We have Austin.
What about now?
Krasinski saying, welcome back, man. Yeah, I can hear you. So he's saying, I'm just wondering what Kanye apologized about being crazy as fuck for a decade. Crazy as fuck for half a decade. Oh, are you saying like crazy as fuck for half a decade? I see. I kind of read that wrong at first. Right here. I'm just wondering what Kanye apologized about being crazy as fuck for half a decade. That should have been the comma right there. LOL. And he's saying no shit lady to the lady saying, I guess 583 guys in a day isn't that good. But yeah, so I mean, like, look, man, well, first of all, I think people have been calling him crazy for longer than that. But if you're just talking about like the recent stuff, then technically, yeah, he is apologizing for that again. But I don't know, man, like I was mentioning earlier, and I mean, you could go back on the stream because we were talking about this after we talked about the Biden cancer stuff, we talked about this, but I was just saying that people were saying the first time he went crazy was after his mom. Obviously he went through a lot of pain and that, and he had a lot of, negative thoughts and stuff going on.
You
and
feel the pain in his day.
He made a lot of decisions around that time that, now it's like with not being able to see his kids, then he's like freaking explains it in the song that he put out saying like, man, first they took my kids, then they froze my bank account. And he's like, I can't get my kids back. He just doesn't feel right about that. And now that he's FaceTiming kids, he feels better. Obviously he has his way of expressing himself, and I mean, he's an artist. So there you go. But it's really just
He's
like
apologizing
his
about the
way
painter
of
stuff, basically.
again expressing himself, but also the painter stuff. But I was just saying the past few years, like I was like, that's I already went over that, but I guess I wasn't clear on that. But like, Alex Jones stuff, I guess included, even though he technically apologized for that before coming back onto Twitter and this stuff again. But yeah. Let's see what Austin says. He says, I think he's funny for sure. He's probably trolling. I agree. He's been fucked over. Definitely has been. And it is funny. And dude, like we've been talking about this because we were wondering, like, is he going to stop saying free Diddy now? Or is that a troll or not? But like, he knows that that's rage bait either way, because he was including it on these songs where he was trying to get as much attention as possible. So clearly, even whether he wants Diddy free or not, it's getting people to talk about him. He wanted to be talked about. He wanted more attention. So, I mean, it's like, obviously, he's gonna do the thing that's gonna rage bait the most. Like, he had the swastika chain. He had the Klan, like the Black Klansman, like outfit plus the swastika chain on that too. When he was doing the academics interview, he said, "I'm evil." Like, of course, like you're not being serious when you say something like that, but, I'm an evil person. When academics asked him, he was like, you don't really think that, right? And he's like, It just kills me every time I see it.
Was just playing 4D chess the entire time.
He was. It was all a ploy to eventually release a song that would make Playboi Carti upset.
I mean, if you think about
just recently,
it could work out like that, because if he already planted the seeds of, oh, he's saying these things about this group of people, and that's there, and then he releases the songs. If he didn't do that beforehand, it would just be like, oh, rage bait, who gives a shit? But since he already planted the seeds of these being genuine positions he has, now people are like, oh my god, he's spreading this message of hate, hence more traffic.
It's really funny, like that he literally, the funniest part about is that bro sends a whole choir of guys to go say like the HH stuff around the Diddy Star of Fame, and then immediately apologizes. Like, he's like, nah, guys, I was tripping. Right after he fucks Diddy over with that. You had to just get that last hit in. He's like, yeah, no, we're going to go around Diddy's Star and start chanting this. Looks terrible on Diddy. And then he comes back and it's like, nah, guys, I wasn't with all that. It's like separating himself from it immediately.
I mean, granted, there's no verdict yet, but I'm inclined to believe Diddy deserves it regardless.
Diddy deserves it because he touched Justin Bieber. I mean, whether or not we're talking about exactly that being the case, I'm just saying, there should be some consequences against this man for his actions, in general. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe we're not going to get justice for Justin in that exact sense of like, he's going to go on trial for that specifically, but hey, he gets put away for it. He gets put away for it, whatever it is. Would you really want Diddy walking about in the general public is all I'm asking.
I've been thinking about this.
Would you feel safe?
I don't think I would like most of the celebrities that exist in major U.S. cities walking around freely, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah. Let's just put them in like a zoo.
I mean, that's basically what they are at this point anyway.
I don't mean Diddy specifically. I didn't mean that. I also mean LeBron. I also mean, like a lot of other celebrities. Michelle Obama. Like, I mean a lot of other celebrities.
Bro.
It's not a thing about, Diddy. I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
Okay. So, digital creator told us that despite the pain she was experiencing, she was determined to get back to her best soon. That is crazy, man. Why would you immediately after, like, obviously this itself is like straight up just like at any cost, at even at the point of harm, right? So like she was determined to get back to her best soon. Yeah. So like that's obviously a crazy statement to make, and she knows it, I'm sure. I'll definitely survive, but it is quite painful and unpleasant at the moment, Knight explained. In an earlier interview with us on Tuesday, Knight said she was shocked by how easy the challenge proved. Well, so then why are you in the hospital? Doing 583 in a day is quite a lot. So it was a little bit, I was a little bit worried that I was going to really struggle with it, because the most I've done before that was 24 in a day. And, like, oh, she received 2,000 registrations for her event. Okay. Where she requested that all participants wear the protection, the block, and was hoping 200 people would show up. When that number more than doubled, Knight recalled being out. Yeah, this is like, it is out of hand when this is like not just one instant, not just two instances. It's just getting replicated and replicated, and it's just going to keep going. This is what they have to do now to stand out from the crowd of like the ocean of women that are on this site showing their bits for the camera. Now it's like,
Bro,
now it's like, now I have to get with,
Get out.
huh?
You can get free McDonald's. Look.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't know if I should click that.
I think you should click.
I don't know if I don't know if I should tap there.
I think it's a great idea to click.
Like hover over it. I want to see what website it gives me. I don't want to click on it, but I'm trying to see what website shows up in the corner for me, and it's not showing up. That's concerning. If I can copy the link address, no, I can't. I can't. But anyway, if only I could. And then I can mix salt with Vaseline and just watch.
You can mix salt with Vaseline and then just
watch for. There's no like, bro. There's no like. There's okay. I'm gonna go do that and see what happens. There's no like. This is like a good skin routine. This is like a cure for. No, mix salt with Vaseline and just watch. What? What am I watching for? Let's see. Austin says,
well, might get.
Yeah, Diddy seems. Yeah, Diddy seems pretty guilty. I haven't really looked at the evidence that much. I'm just saying, like, as far as the Cassie stuff, maybe it's questionable. Maybe just because of like her, like, kind of switching some stuff up, and like some of the information wasn't being completely revealed. It's possible that things went both ways as far as their physical altercations. That's all I'm saying. But and so like, will Diddy walk free from this? I'm saying it's not impossible from this specifically. Well, as at least on the like whatever's going on with Cassie. Maybe with the other women, there's like more of a tight case. I don't know. I don't know everything about that, but I'm just saying, like, it's not the most surprising thing in the world if Diddy eventually walks somehow, like Cosby did. So I mean, it wouldn't be shocking, right? And so like, even though Diddy did a lot of stuff that I definitely would think like this man does need to go away for. I'm just saying this specifically. I don't know if they're really going to get him on this, but I don't know. They're getting him on a lot, so clearly he could just go to prison. I don't know, but I was thinking before that it would be tighter than this as far as the case. I thought it would be more open and shut, but apparently there's some other information. He says I'm going to get 20 viruses clicking that. Can I get 583 viruses?
Think about how much.
My computer.
Think about the trade-off. 20 viruses for a free quarter pounder meal? I mean, come on.
Oh, okay. So, but not making any money back because you spend how much on a quarter pounder and how much on a computer,
Yeah, but I mean, the computer is temporary. The quarter pounder.
Just by resetting the computer?
You probably definitely can't. I would be very surprised if that's how that works.
I don't mean like restarting. I just mean like refreshing like getting rid of everything on the computer, like reinstalling everything, wiping.
Isn't the virus? They usually like target like data, don't they? So wouldn't that just be letting them win?
Fair enough. But you get a quarter pounder. Do it on a computer.
That's actually valid.
And reset it.
I should
and then
do
try
that
it again with a different thing, like the salt and Vaseline.
Such a weird comment.
But you don't want to be on your Wi-Fi too. You might want to be on some Wi-Fi you don't care about either.
Go to Starbucks.
Buy salt and Vaseline. That's what gets to me, man. And what happens when you mix salt and Vaseline? And then just have your computer open this about and start like getting all the viruses you can. Okay, let me see. Salt and Vaseline. I'm looking this up on Google. I'm like those guys that what's faster, light or sound, and then they turn on their phone camera and say, at the same time. Okay. So apparently mixing saline can create homemade body scrub. So yeah, it does act like, an exfoliant. So why can't I just look that up? Why do I have to click on the ad? Because then I don't get the virus. That's the problem. Yeah. I just don't know if I trust that. Rubbing Vaseline salt.
Give an ad blocker.
It's, I do, but it doesn't work, man, I guess. I have, and it says it's on this site. That's weird. These ads, they get they adapt. They overcome. Oh my God, I hate this. The thing is, I'll refresh this page because it went to another page without me clicking any. I can't see anything. I'm back. I can see. But for a second, I couldn't see anything on the restream. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh. Because I was like, I can't see the restream. My volume thing doesn't even look apparent to me changing at all.
Yeah, it just looks like it's like constantly making sound right now.
Like I'm getting a lot of like lag here. I don't know, man. I'm going to stop share article page to see if that helps. That's how I hate. I just hate this restream right now. It's getting to me. It's getting to
You take it in the nigga.
But my income. Okay. There we go. Finally.
We're back.
Okay. So I'm going to read this out. And so yeah. Yeah, we know that. During Knight's first interview with us, she noted that she doesn't let the hate she receives bother her. People seem to like get so uptight about it. At the end of the day, these men just want to have sex. God forbid a man has sex. And I'm providing a service for free, she says. It really upsets me when I see people coming after the guys and being so mean about the guys that showed up because I feel quite protective of them. What the fuck is this kind of mommy shit, dude? And so when I see negative comments toward them, it really like upsets me. Knight shared insight via a video posted to her Instagram grid on Tuesday, revealing that she took her dog Billy for a walk in the morning to ensure her pup felt energized ahead of being home by himself for 10 hours. Okay. A nice pink baklavas created for the men to wear. What? Balaclavas. What is a balaclava? I called it baklava. I thought she made pink baklava.
It's like
It's like, how'd you make the puff pastry pink? It's the shiesty.
Yeah.
The shiesty.
Sure.
The ski mask. Why did they call it balaclava?
I've never heard
that. Created for men to wear and maintain anonymity. So apparently, that's kind of weird that you'd be railing her and you're wearing a pink ski mask of everything. Now, let me put on this pink ski mask. Very, very gyno. $583, this is the Oracle, is crazy. Bro, you get in 3 strokes. Self-respect. But yeah, I mean, like, she's like, oh my God, like, how could people, have a problem with this? Like, God forbid, guys have sex. It's like, dude, we care, or people in general care, that this is like so like openly shown and like, filmed and like talked about. And like, this is supposed to be an intimate matter between, a loving man and woman. I said it. I said it. But it's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be, something not made so public. That's, it's kind of like going to the bathroom. It's something personal, it's like, maybe I tell my boys like, I took a nice shit, man, but I'm not going all over the internet necessarily talking about it, unless I'm some celebrity that's like making a joke or something. But, I'm not some guy that's going to go saying like, hey man, this is exactly the dump I took this morning to you guys. Like, why would I be doing that? Why is it always a white woman, Flower? Well, there was that Turkish woman that did it almost, but then she got arrested in Turkey.
That's true. She should have probably moved to a different country.
Yeah. But, all due respect, she did have that yacht. So, but I'm not saying that they shouldn't have taken action against that before the problem started there too. All I'm saying is that, you don't nip it in the bud. It's going to keep going. We're going to have a little problem. You know what? You know what it's time for, though? It's time to see the reaction to this event. And this was updated 3 hours ago.
Wait, what?
Okay. So she has a fiance.
This guy's totally destroyed.
583 girl that I don't even remember the name of. Let's just show a picture. This is the guy. He doesn't look very alive, is the thing. He looks more soulless than her, which is unfortunate,
I mean, he chose his cross to bear.
Yeah. He's you can tell in those eyes that he's seen a lot. I mean, for real though. This guy looks like he's been through it. He looks kind of like Charlie Kirk.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. So here's the news. Here's the news about this guy. OnlyFans, I just said it, whatever. Any Knight reveals fiance's reaction to having her sex with 583 men in a day. So she shared how her fiance, Henry Brayshaw, reacted to her completing her goal. You guys know. But anyway, saying he was really stoked and proud of her. You're doing it to yourself, bro. You're doing it to yourself. So she shared that Henry Brayshaw, who she got engaged to in March, had the most supportive reaction to her embarking on a challenge where she slept with 583 men in one day. He was actually at work the day of the event. And he told Us Weekly in an interview published May 22nd, but he called me in the morning, wished me luck. That's crazy. I said, make us proud, have fun, be safe. Wow. Okay. And after the 28-year-old exceeded her initial goal of having, the deed with 200 men in one day, ultimately sleeping with over twice that in just 6 hours, Henry was first in line to get a full debrief. Wow, she's yeah. Let me tell you about the details too. Let me explain every last thing that happened, how it happened. Bro likes this. It sounds like he likes the idea of this a little too much. There's no liking it an appropriate amount, but even so, it's like, this is gross. You're being gross. You want to know all about it? What's wrong with you?
I would
but yeah, I guess it.
if you're okay with it, that the typical reaction would be indifference, not support for it. Supporting it is,
You know what it is? I don't know if there is being indifferent to it is the thing. So there's obviously guys that have self-respect that are going to say, I don't want to be with you. I guess the indifferent ones would be ones that are just hitting to hit. You know, they would not be invested in the relationship. They wouldn't be invested in her. They're just smashing on the side. They're like, yeah, whatever. Just go do it. They don't really care. And then you have the guys, the only other group out of these three are the ones that enjoy seeing this happen or hearing about it because they get off to it. And this is one of those guys. That's the only reason you'd have such a positive reaction to it. I mean, and you're proving it by getting a full debrief of it after the fact. You're getting proof that the guy likes hearing about it. He enjoys this. And so then he called me the night of and was like, how was it? Wow, he wants to know how it was. And I told him all about it, and he wants to hear all about this. In the end, the adult creator said her partner was really stoked that she went above and beyond her original number. Bro was like, oh my God, that's even better. You wanted to be with 283. You know, that's how he feels about that. He's like, us? So he was proud of me for completing it because I think he was a little bit worried I wouldn't be able to, and that I'd be upset that I couldn't do it. She continued. He was just really happy for me. So what happened to going to the hospital? What is this? And while she may not have had to worry about Henry's reaction to her 6-hour bedroom marathon, so she did end up having some concerns about her health. Now they mention it, sharing she was hospitalized days after the challenge for bleeding and being burnt out. Okay, so it took days. It wasn't like at the event. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I have to stop now. I've been bleeding a lot since the challenge, she told Us Weekly. It was definitely a bit raw down there, and I did get a small cut. Cut from what, dude? What did you get? Jerry lost it from planning an exit. I guess I'm no, you know, I'm too tired. I'm too tired too. He probably wants to not even be able to sleep with her, dude. It looks a bit, sit out and just take it easy for a while, she noted. Hey, I'm not this long. So that's the guy. That's the story. Thoughts, Greg?
Yeah, I didn't get that last minute or so because my thing started lagging pretty hard.
Was it me or was it just your end?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, chat, tell me if it was me. But basically what happened was that it seems like the guy really enjoyed hearing about this. And, you know, also she didn't even go to the hospital until days after this. I don't even know how she got cut. She says there was a cut down there. But anyway, basically I'm like thinking bro probably enjoys that he doesn't even have this time to be with her, because it seems like he wants other guys to be doing that. Not him, apparently. It's what it shows, bro. Like, you know, this guy's too excited about this. I mean, honestly, like even on top of liking it, like, bro, probably when he's talking to her on the phone about this, he's like kicking up his little feet back and he's like, oh my God, babe, tell me everything. Let's see. We have a couple videos we're going to look at. This one is like some OF chick doing like an ad, and there's like some meme page called Internet Hall of Fame that keeps like putting out her videos, but like it just, look how gross this is, dude. Like I know it's an ad for her, but like it's just want to show it just to like, you know, be like, ugh, because that's how I felt when I saw it. And I'm going to subject everybody else, but you know, I know nobody in this chat's going to go like subscribing to her or something. So I mean, if you got to see it, go to Reddit or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's just look at her, look at this position she's in, bro, during the podcast too. It's just, I hate this because she's just showing like legs as open as possible, bro. Like you have nothing to be spreading for. Just sit down. Just keep them closed.
How big is it?
You gotta go see. You go
She's talking to a midget, by the way.
see my videos, but I can show you better than I could tell you.
Could you give me like a hand?
So So, you know, this is like all about ridiculousness. You know, you want it to be as like absurd as possible. So, like, you know, including this, like, you know, just having like a guy that's like short like this on there talking about his, you know, his length and all that. Like, they just want it to be absurd as it can be. That's the whole point. And so, you know, it's an ad and they're doing a fake long form entertainment because, you know, there's no such thing other than the podcast ever as a podcast, but they're doing long form entertainment. And you know, mock like, you know, pretending like it is, you know, I'm sure this is just a 1 minute clip they straight up recorded and just put out as if it were this long form piece of media. But you have her just like in this ridiculous position that is like, you know, crass. And then you have this gentleman who, of course, you weren't necessarily expecting from the beginning of the video, but, you know, he knows what he looks like. He knows how like, you know, he is and literally by definition abnormal person, like different, you know, and so he's capitalizing on that not only in this video but just in general, because it sounds like what he does is those videos, those kinds of not these, but I'm saying like sexual content. So it's like these two are coming together to, I mean, literally probably after this, but you know, they're coming together here to make this crazy video, like, oh my god, you know, how big is it, whatever, you know, to this midget dude. And it's like, sucks, man. Like, this is what we see on social media now because this is what meme pages will promote. And like, we just have to sit here. I mean, I don't have to sit here and watch it, but you know, there are people that are scrolling and they see it, and you know, then they have to be subjected to it regardless. And then they try to make it as catchy as possible, like, you know, in the sense of like eye catching, you know, is she's already in this position, and then you have that guy, and so it's trying to hook you. And what they're doing is trying to get you to watch the slop so that you go do something else. But you know, it's just so what would be the word of causing fatigue? Because I'm getting fatigue for like OF chicks, dude, like serious fatigue.
It's all so tiresome.
It is. This is making me tired. Not really. I'm okay, like, you know, energy wise, but just like as far as like looking at this, it's just kind of depressing to watch. It's like just this is society. We live in a society, but this is the state of it. We live in a society and this is what it looks like. And that's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Like, you know, you can laugh, and we've had our laughs at ridiculous stuff, but it's gotten to the point where now not only is it just laughing at ridiculous stuff, now it's just straight up, it's advertising. And that makes it even worse. Now it's all commercial. So now it's just cheap and worthless and not even providing the same value of entertainment it once was. Now it's just garbage that I don't want to see anymore. I do not like this. I do not want to be around this. This is like, yeah, I don't know how to say it other than just being direct, but I don't know, man. It's just fucking, we've gotten to a level of degeneracy that is just too much. It's too much. Who can function like this when this is the world around you? And these people are getting paid way more than you. These people are set for life and you're not. And this is what they're making.
Well, not all of them, but a good chunk of them.
Well, you know, but like they're making way more. If they manage the money right, they could be set for ages.
I think the issues are making way more, not only doing low effort work, but doing work that is actively detrimental to society.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even about the effort. It's not like, oh, yeah, this just took me less time than it took you. It's not about that, man, because when people were making content I enjoyed watching, I didn't care that that was the case. But now that it's content that like literally, yeah, has a societal impact that's negative, well, now that's a serious problem.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, I don't like this, but we're going to go to a different video, which also, you know, these days, like whenever there's like some sort of video like this where, you know, it looks like, you know, first of all, this one, they're trying to pass off as some sort of long form entertainment already existing. Right. But there's other ones where it's like, is this a skit? Is it a skit? And then, you know, a lot of the times they're doing it to either like, I mean, a lot of the time, you know, they're trying to get people infuriated. They're trying to get attention that way. But here's one I don't I've never heard of this show. I don't know if it's a real show or if it's like just something being made up to like, I don't know. There's an account. I just don't know if like they have it anywhere else or it's just a TikTok thing. It's called Subway Takes. Never heard of it to this day. And there's just some guy that posted it calling I just saw this on my Twitter. It only has like 277 likes on the actual tweet. I don't know how it ended up in my feed, but the guy is saying this bitch is retarded as fuck. She knows she's full of shit, but it's like two people talking about incels. And I thought it would just be a good way to wrap up the show, just to talk about the retardation of these takes. But we do have an Oracle comment. Let's see what he said. I hate that Insta pages will promote it. And this one was a Twitter page too. It's happening on both. Constantly being bombarded by corn. For me, it's gotten to the point I block every somewhat risque woman on Instagram. Good. I just don't want to see it. That's good, man. Because like, I even get people sending that to me. I've talked about this. Like I have friends that will send that to me. They're like, damn, dude, look at this. That's really not how I want to be spending my time. Like looking at that, like just thinking about like, how is this good for you to just be thinking about that constantly? Like, damn, I wish I had that. And it's like something like that. Like, you know, it's like, how good is that for you mentally? Not good, probably. Because even like these guys might be with a girl at the time, or maybe I have a girl in general. I'm not going to put out any names or anything there on that one. But I'm just saying, if you already are with a girl and now you're like fantasizing about a girl that looks way better, now not only are you like, you know, not going to have that, but now you're like probably less satisfied with your life now, you know, even though you could have been satisfied prior. That's not to say that, you know, things in your life you couldn't want better and there would be reason to want better. But I'm just saying it could get to the point where you kind of set your hopes too high and then now you're like downgrading the things that you already have. Also, not to say that you couldn't have better than you already do no matter where you are, but it's just obsessing over that is kind of the issue. Like it becomes a problem when you're with things that would have otherwise like be satisfactory to a reasonable person. My fucking coworkers, and this is the Oracle, send this shit to me. It's fucking weird. I don't know what he beats off to. I don't want to know what he beats off to. If only you didn't know what he beats off to, then you would be satisfied because you'd be like, oh, I don't know. It could be anything. And I'm okay not knowing. Yeah. It's on a need to know basis and there's nobody that needs to know except for you. But, you know, like keep it normal though. But, you know, but yeah, I don't need to like share in this, lust with somebody, with a guy. Cause it's like, I mean, it's like, yeah, it could be funny if we see like that Turkish broad that was like, you know, do that big challenge and we're like, yeah, you know, it's like kind of funny. It's like, damn, she's thick. But it's like, if it's just literal like soft core shit at that point, it's like, dude, like whatever, like at a certain point, it's basically like you're in a literal circle jerk. Like it's like kind of weird. It's like, buddy, what are we doing here? Okay. So let me show this video. And this is probably going to be what we wrap up with. It's almost 10 o'clock. It doesn't feel like it.
It does to me. It's pretty dark out there.
Okay, so let's watch this guy that does these Subway takes and what he asks, you know, people and this woman and what she says. I don't know why they have some sort of, what is that? What is that? Metro card has mic attached to it. Okay.
So what's your take?
Incels are not real.
100% disagree. Incels
Stop the cap.
are real.
No, you are not voluntarily celibate. You just hate women and feel entitled to our bodies.
Bruh.
Real.
Let me explain, okay? Women don't not want to sleep with you because you're a nerd or you play video games or you think you're ugly, okay? Every single woman I know has an ugly boyfriend. She's like, this is Brian. He looks like a dirty dish towel. That's not the problem.
Ugly isn't.
Yeah, it's not because you're ugly, okay?
Wait, does incel stand for involuntary celibate?
Yes, what did you think it stood for?
What's some good advice for an incel?
It's like they're on land and they're like, why can't I catch any fish? Get in the water and put out something that I want to eat. Like from the moment we're born, women are like conditioned to be desirable to men. Have you heard of Sephora? Have you heard of
Sephora? Have you heard of Sephora?
Victoria's Secret.
European Wax Center?
Brandy Melville.
This guy knows his stuff.
Women like the strong, silent type.
Yeah.
So just carry a book around, carry a baguette around, wear a beret.
Ask her one.
Bro, be silent and you're gonna get women. Bro, what kind of advice is this?
Get laid.
Get laid. baby.
What's your favorite color? Bang.
Bang.
Sex.
That's free.
What kind of people are these? Bro?
That's for free.
They're still involuntarily celibate.
No, it's
I want
voluntary.
to yes and you.
They won't work on themselves.
I'm
Do you
an
hear what I'm
incel.
saying? They won't be a pleasure to be around.
What if I'm a secret
Here's
incel?
some advice. Buy the book She Comes First from that Short King.
Written by a man?
Yes.
Give me a fucking break.
Yes, did you not know that? Of course it was.
What do we live in?
It was written by a short king.
He doesn't know jack shit. He's just trying to get a lady.
Read that book, walk around with it. You will have a threesome tonight. Like, you are not involuntarily celibate, okay? I am an insob,
What does that even mean?
What's
an
that?
involuntary sex object.
I didn't even watch this far in the video because she was so retarded.
Got it? You're not an incel. I'm an insob.
Yeah. So that was quite something. Okay, let's see what we see here in the comments. Okay, so Mr. Austin says video games are great. Foyd L. What do you think started Gamergate? Why do you think it's all because they couldn't leave the video games alone? But so yeah, I mean, it's like this is like, oh yeah, it's not the fact that you're unattractive or something, which, you know, that's what ugly would be, unattractive. But, you know, she's like, oh, it's because you don't have the confidence or something, you know, to be desirable. It's like, and yeah, Mr. Oracle says she's rage baiting. She lives in a bubble within a bubble. True. And you know, she's like, get out there. Get out there is like such like I just wanted to play that because I said get out. But you know, get out there, like I was talking about last time, seems to be such irrelevant advice when the way people are meeting each other more and more is online. So it's like, bro, like if that's how majority of people are meeting each other now, then like what sense does it make to say, well, you just need to get out there? Or, you know, if we're living in a situation where, you know, especially if you are seen as unattractive, it's especially a problem for you because it's seen as like against the social norms now because, you know, women are partaking in setting those that, you know, it's weird to approach strangers, like including women. Like, you know, if you're approaching somebody random and just coming up with something, it's like, oh, that's weird. That's creepy, especially if you're an unattractive person. Now it's weird because you're unattractive. It's not because like, you know, as far as like whether or not you could like, you know, even if you have some sort of defect, but if you already look the part, it's not confidence at that point. If you're already tall, it's not really all about the confidence at that point. If anything, the fact that you're tall already adds to that. But yeah, you could be a short guy. You could be like somebody that doesn't look as good, be confident, and it's going to help. But it's like, and you could approach women still out there, but it's like, it's just, this is becoming more and more irrelevant advice as things change, as we're seeing with the internet, as we're seeing with online dating, as we're seeing with hypergamy, where, you know, like basically even uglier and uglier women are thinking that they don't need to be with their looks match. They actually just need to be with the top guy. So they think, okay, well, I have a shot at him because he'll sleep with me, or at least some guy up there above the guy that's like at my level. And then I'll just keep doing that until I'm 30. And then the guy, like, I'll find some simp that's going to be with me anyway. And so, you know, this is obviously causing problems with this sort of delusional behavior. This is definitely the seeing is that because of that has an effect where now guys are like, okay, so like, what am I doing what I'm doing for? Because the point originally, so, you know, guys would get a job, support the family on that job, and, you know, have a wife and kids and all that. And the woman wouldn't be ran through to where it's like, oh, I want to have my fun in my 20s. So then it's like, not only is she like ran through, she can't have as many kids. And now you don't even have like the ability necessarily, depending on who you are, to get a job, like, you know, or it's not as easy as it used to be to get a job where you can support a family on that income. It's not even saying you have to be the ability to afford a home and support family. It used to be a lot more like of an accessible thing for the average person, and it's not anymore. And so I mean, it's becomes a question of like, what am I doing this for when this is what's around me? This is my surroundings, like what, you know. And so we're literally seeing in front of us like nothing short of a impending societal collapse, because if this is, they're kind of you engaging with the conditions that are present, then where do we go from here? I mean, you lose
Uh, to be fair, I do think a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but a decent amount of people do kind of fall into like the incel trap where they just kind of blame everything on everyone else to an extent where it's not even really that. They just are a shut in. So, in that scenario, her advice isn't bad. You are going to increase your chances of getting something that way. But to pretend like there's not other factors that do make it a little bit, at least, at the bare minimum, a little bit more difficult than it would have been prior decades, that's just kind of being dishonest or just not being aware of the situation. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like, but if anything, just the way of looking at it in general, the conditions have changed for the worse. Even if we're talking about approaching, and even beyond the fact of like how conventional it is now to approach or unconventional, but just like if you're already not sort of I guess like bringing in that attention yourself, as who you are, you're going to have an issue where you're basically going through this humiliation ritual because they're like, oh, well, you just got to ask out enough women. And like the whole thing with this game stuff where guys are like, oh, you need to ask out X amount of women before you get a number and then you're guaranteed to. It's like you have to go through like 50 rejections first. Like this is not how it like, I mean, at least, depending on who we're talking about, should be, I guess. I mean, if you're like a really unattractive guy, that makes sense, right? Like, but we're at the point where this is happening to more and more just average guys, which is like a lot weirder than it would have been prior. So, I mean, it's like there always would have been like a set, I guess, of guys. I mean, they still would have had a looks match maybe, but like, there still would have been probably guys that are out of that, even like, I guess like rank of like, who's going to find a woman, because like there would still be some guys that women just wouldn't even want to settle for anyway, regardless. But, that number is definitely increasing and it's going up in the scale to where like you have to be of that higher sort of value to even sort of get your pick.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, that's not untrue. And I mean, it's like, yeah, like you will increase your odds by getting out there because I mean, like you are a shut in, you never have any interactions whatsoever. I mean, what's the likelihood at that point? Right. So, I mean, yeah, that makes sense too. But, yeah, like, but she's being intentionally dense, I believe, because is an incel. And it's like, well, that is just a blatant lie. Even if we're saying like the average guy still has a chance, like a decent one, like even a good one, if we were saying that, there's still going to be guys at the bottom that are don't have that chance. It's just true. I don't know why we would ignore that. I mean, obviously a woman would, but as guys, we can obviously understand that this is the case. Like is just reality.
What I thought she was going to say, because I've heard this from Rolo too, because he also says the same thing actually, but his argument is that you're not involuntarily celibate because you have the money to just pay someone for it. So you can get it if you try.
Well, but I mean, that's not really what the incels are looking for though, because it's like the whole point is like, I mean, I guess, yeah, like maybe you are kind of changing the definition too at that point if you're making this argument, because it's literally like celibacy would mean sex, like sexual, like intercourse. But
yeah,
like
that's the other thing.
The people,
like if you're having
that are on.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying the people that are like in these like groups, like I've seen them in, on Twitter and stuff. Their whole deal is that they want like actual, like an actual relationship or like actual like intimacy that goes beyond just like literally the sex. Like they want like an actual connection. That's the whole like part of it that, they sure they can pay for sex, but they're like, so what? It just doesn't like, just doesn't give the rest of it. So I guess that's what they're really talking about.
I mean, yeah, if that's the standard you're going by, then in that case, yeah, it is going to be way more difficult to have that. But I don't think I'm entirely convinced that if the goal was simply to score, that it would be as bad as some of the more extreme voices are saying. It's still not great.
Yeah, I mean, like, but like literally, still, like if you wanted to just score, yeah, that's like that's different.
Yeah. That's all.
Let's see. So the Oracle is saying here, I really lucked out with my girlfriend. Holy shit, I can't stand mid-white women. So is she like is she white still? Is that what you're saying? She's just not mid. Well, he said he couldn't stand mid-white women. So no offense to your choices, but it either been that she's really hot or she's really not. I'm just saying, because that would mean she's not mid. You just can't stand the mid ones. That's all you specified. You should have specified more. You should have said like sub fives or something.
That's why
or sub sixes.
Sub fives. Some fives are not worth the time.
But yeah, I mean, I think like, I don't know, man. There's clearly some kind of problem. I don't think it's just like in everybody's heads, unless you do. But I'm not even saying like you think like completely the opposite of what I'm saying right now. I'm just thinking like, do you think it's mostly the fact like of an attitude toward it? I mean, obviously you know like about the issues present. But I guess trying to say is like, do you think that the attitude is bigger?
I think, yeah, the attitude, like, you know how people say confidence, like, is everything? To an extent, that is true. Because if you have enough confidence, you could still be pretty below average looking. And I mean, this works better with women, obviously. But, like, even as a guy, if you're below average, if you have a certain way of adapting to that, and all you did want was sex, you're usually not going to have a huge issue with that. Unless you're, like, really autistic. That's kind of the part where, like, you're done for. You can't really escape that. Unless you find another autist girl. Then you're good. But that's a lot harder to find.
No, but that's ideal regardless for the relationship too.
I mean, yeah, at this point, it kind of is.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, you know,
Well,
but
hold on.
otherwise,
it's ideal given the context of where we're at. Ideally, like ideally in an ideal world, no.
Okay. But you know, otherwise, guys, you're gonna have to get a passport. Coming soon.
It's a lot of
I'm gonna be saying coming soon for a couple weeks still.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's still gonna be a couple weeks that I'm saying coming soon for. I said it last time. So I mean, maybe I'll skip next week. Maybe I'll just say it again the week after that. But it's coming soon. I mean, soon. Like soon is a time. That's soon. Okay. Like
an indefinite
weeks,
time.
Like give it a few weeks. Give it a few weeks. Give it a few weeks and it'll be out. It'll be out. Okay. Give it a few weeks. But anyway, anything else you want to talk about or add today?
The
Mr.
Oracle
Greg?
comment.
All right, let's see. He didn't mention if his girlfriend was really hot, so I don't know what to take that as. But autistic girls are usually swooped up pretty quickly too because of their value to your life when you have that.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's that men don't give a shit, generally speaking, about personality. So whether the girl's autistic or not is not even secondary. It's more like tertiary to whether or not she's hot.
That's true.
So.
But I'm just saying in the sense of like you have more peace of mind. Definitely. Even if it would sound kind of contradictory, but you do.
Yeah. Likely.
You have more peace of mind. And that's why. It's not about knowing, well, it could be about knowing about some niche topic that these guys care about, but you shouldn't really be looking for somebody that cares about niche topics. You know, it's like, what are you looking for? A roommate?
You kind of
but anyway,
for at that point. Because even if that was like something that would be objectively good, I mean, then you're just really cutting down the pool that you have.
Yeah. I see like guys into like these political like niches. They're like, oh man, if only I had a girlfriend that believed this exact thing that I already got to, like after like years of like looking into political stuff.
Because women are known.
That's gonna happen.
Being very involved in politics and knowledgeable about that stuff. They're known for that, like everywhere. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're more active than men in it. Honestly, it's just how it goes, man. It's just how it goes. No, you just find some art hoe at a Palestine rally, and then tell her about why you're there, and then you're good. So.
So you support Palestine, right?
Okay. But there are two players involved here. I'm just saying. What do you anyway. You want to talk a little more about that? You want to talk a little more about that?
No, I don't.
Okay. See you guys next time on the podcast.
The podcast ever.
It's all I hate.